All right, guys, let's go. We've got the grand finals of GSL. Maru in the bottom right doing the famous 2-Rex Reaper opening into an expansion. Dark has spotted it. He's seen the command center, and the first Reaper enters the base. It's a big grand finals here. Best of 7, first of 4 maps wins. And Maru comes in as a favorite, but I actually don't know what his record's like versus Dark recently. Dark has a way of beating even the best players in the world on the regular, and I'll never forget that Valencia finals where I thought Maru was a shoo-in to beat Dark in that grand finals. And Dark just destroyed him the first 2 games with some very abusive builds. So if Dark can get a good read on Maru's style and pull some of those classic, famous Dark tricks out of the book, he can do really nicely. I really feel Dark, in terms of creative strategies, looks lazier than he's ever looked recently. But his killer instinct somehow is better than it's ever been. And you guys know I'm very critical of Dark in terms of, like, you know, creating new strategies and stuff. But I really feel like that there's this crazy ability to just win games that he has. And in ZVT especially, we've never got to count him out. On the other hand, let's be real. Maru's the king of late game, and Dark cannot compete with him there unless he's already got a lot of momentum on his side. If he can maybe sneak a Nydus in the back or something like that, yeah. If he goes straight for Infestors and does some of those famous burrowed Infestor ambushes in the early late game, sure. But I'm saying late game, Dark can compete. Late game, Dark can surprise him with a Nydus. You go to end game where Maru has 10 command centers in orbital form. He's got planetaries across the map, ghosts everywhere. Dark does not win that game. Very rarely. I think even if he swaps into a nice sharp Broodlord Infestor timing, Maru is so good at dealing with those stages. And that's definitely a win condition that is there. On the other hand, Maru very rarely beelines towards that. He always feels like that basically that's not a good idea strategically because you give up too much momentum if you're just focused on the late game. So he's still going to try and win early, get advantages early. And then as the series goes on, if he gets forced to or if he sees it's the right decision, he'll just go into that big turtle late game mode. So far, only 1 creep tumor went down. No other kills, and he lost a Reaper. I'd say that's pretty impressively held, right? Dark is on 38 workers. He's got the 3rd base up. His creep is spreading. He's going to 6 queens, and he's going to go double Evo. He loves this versus Maru. Okay, so this is something Dark loves to do versus Maru. He feels like he can often identify when Maru's being kind of greedy and defensive, and he will just rush double upgrades and try to be very, very much just looking for the Giantling Bane Swarm, either when 1-1 or 2-2 finishes. And he'll often catch Maru out of the map with some drops. 50 million Banelings and Zerglings roll into the 3rd of the natural, wipe Maru's economy, and Maru's screwed from there. The problem for Dark is Maru's going for double Widowmine drops, combined with a lot of bio building up off of a nice 3rd base build. So if Maru can hit 1 or 2 good Widowmine drops and just keep expanding and playing more defensive, even though his upgrades are going to be about maybe almost a minute behind, he should be able to play okay. Good Reaper Micro from Maru here. Dark, you can see no Baneling Nest, no Lair. Lair starts up now. Baneling Nest will be next. And he's up to 3 bases, pretty much saturated on minerals. Going into those 2 gases was nice, but he will need another gas or 2 to continue. I wonder if Dark stays on a 3-gas style and really tries to mass lane. Oh, watch out. Dark's not watching. Dark is not watching. He got the Reapers poked at the front and distracted him. Oh, wow. Okay, 7 drones do go down. That hurts. He's got another Widowmine, a fresh one. He picks up 2 of the ones that fired. One of them goes down. Drops a new Widowmine. Dark, do a Spore trick, mate. You know you can do this. There we go. Nice. He does the Spore trick into the cancel. He almost did it too quickly, which is the famous piece of negative micro that I think, what did Harston say? It was Cristiano who first did that against him when off-racing Zerg. He did the Spore to dodge the Widowmine shot, but before the Widowmine connected, he canceled the Spore and still got the drone killed. All right, Widowmine does reburrow. Ooh, I'm surprised Dark isn't dealing with this. Like, he's just like, nah, just leave it. If he just left a few lings there, this would have been shut down already. But look at Maru. He's being so annoying. And Dark's not even going to spread, so he loses 4 Zerglings and a lot of mining time. The mining time is huge. If he can deny this base as well... Oh, Dark has made some big doo-doos here, guys. Knocked back to 3 base. Maru playing a much cleaner game. He's got his 3rd base up. He's only down 8 workers. He's clearing creep, canceled the 4th. He's already killed 8 drones. He's lost very few units in this game, just a few Widow Mines. And behind it, he's now swapping into Siege Tank, and he's going up to 5 barracks. Oh, watch out for that Widow Mine. Oh, big Widow Mine here. Did manage to get about 12 kills there before it went down. But Baneling speed does start up. Dark needs to start 2-2, but he doesn't have the gas for it. He does start melee. He's now got the gas for Carapace. Let's hope he notices that. When Maru puts the pressure on like this, it's easy to forget. Dark does realize, though. And Dark's got 1-1 versus 0-0. This is normally when he wants to fight with this style. He wants to get in there and fight just a few Marines versus a few Zerglings. Those are good fights for him normally. But good micro by Maru, picking up a lot of damaged Marines at the last second, not really losing that much. Dark, if he could get a few Lings on that third, would be great. But it feels like this early upgrade investment, it's now disappeared because 1-1 is finished for Maru. It's even upgrades again. He's going to need to wait for 2-2 to have that upgrade advantage. Maru with a surprise Widowmine drop, catching Dark off guard, cancels the 4th base as well. Okay, Dark's in trouble. Baneling's getting focused down. Maru is on fire right now. Those medevacs getting shot by the Queens. One of them gets very low, 22 hit points, but does get out. Dark forced to take the top right side, but he is backed into a corner now. Units lost tab 2-1 in Maru's favor. Maru was way behind on production because he was pumping off those 2 barracks on the front for a long time. But he's recovered now. He's got the 3 barracks up. He's done the damage with that constant unit production that he was investing in. Dark, though, hiding Baneling run by on the right side. Dark is in a terrible position as he gets his new base cancelled. If anyone can come back from here, though, it is Dark. Siege tanks are in range of sieging his natural ramp. His ramp is cut off right now. Banelings roll into the third. 13 SCVs go down. Nice hit for Dark. But he needs to deal with the army, and right now he has next to no Zerglings. He has very little production as well. He never got his macro hatcheries up in this game. Floating 900 minerals is Dark. I don't know what Dark can do here. Those Queens are going to try to hold this off, but the tanks are just shelling on them, saying, hey, this fight's pretty good for me. And if those Marines get... The Queens are out of transfuse. The Marines are now in there. Lings are coming back. Dark needs to get Lings down here on the south to flank the siege tank. The Queens will be able to take out a medevac. They can take out a second one, almost, but they do have to pull back for now. Dark hanging on by a thread, but his 2-2 upgrades are going to finish. Maru has forgotten his. Maru did not remember to start 2-2, even though his armory's done. Doesn't matter, though. Maru's so far ahead on army supply. Having a double upgrade advantage may not matter as he goes up into the main. The Queens are there. They can slow this down. I like the Spore Crawler moving forward. The tanks will start shelling on it, though. You might want to pull that back. Queens coming forward. They're going to try to go after the medevac, getting rid of the escape route. They will push it back for now, but they are taking heavy losses. A few Marine reinforcements got dealt with. Maru finds the top. Lings will find this SCV line, but there's a tank on the high ground. SCV's trying to evacuate. Maru taking out that base. He's not really doing anything else in the main at the same time. The SCVs are trapped. Oh, God. That is 16 SCVs on the outside of the wall. The Banelings will take that bad boy out. We'll see that pop up here. There we go. 14 SCVs do go down on top of that. Oh, but there's a siege tank sieged above the third base. Maru is continuing to push 2 extremely powerful positions. All the Queens go down in the main. Maru's got this one in the bag, I would say. But, oh, the Banelings connect with most of the Marines. If Maru can get rid of that push on his third, maybe. Sorry, if Dark can get rid of that push on the third, maybe, just maybe. He's got a new 4th almost up. Finally gets rid of the tanks. And you know what? The supply is actually pretty close. Remember, Dark did kill a lot of Maru's SCVs. Is Dark going to somehow pull this one out? He's making the random accidental swarm host. His hive is almost here. Dark doesn't have a lot of mining. He's going to lose a macro hatch that he needs so desperately for production. But he's going to get rid of these tanks, and I think Maru, he should have tried to save these tanks. Oh, never mind. He does it in time. Gets both tanks out, gets the Marines out. He's going to get those home. Oh, I did not realize in the midst of all the action before, Dark Maru these Banelings. They're not in the greatest position, but if he can get the Marines moving from this base out the front, they will walk over that. I think Dark might try to threaten it again. There's not that many Marines massed up. Now, funnily enough, he could probably detonate those Banelings to kill that siege tank. Goes for it. He says, siege tank, a couple Marines for 4 Banelings. That's always got to be worth it. He says, I'll take the guaranteed kill. The random swarm host, Rando Calrissian himself, does throw some locusts. The Lings are going to force the pickup. Problem for Dark is he has 3 Queens. He has terrible creep spread. He's got 2-2, but 2-2's about to finish for Maru. And he says, that's fine. I'll start 3-3 and Adrenal and an Ultra Cavern. So Dark's going to try to get back in it. This base is a terrible expansion, by the way, guys. Look at this tank position. This base is not one you want to be forced to hang on to, but because he hasn't squeezed any extra hatcheries in, Dark is... He's going to feel like he has to at least slow down losing this base, but he's screwed, man. He needs a new base. He takes one on the left. He's got to run by heading towards Maru's natural. Maru's got to have the Spidey sense tingling, mate. Don't let the Lings up the ramp. Dark stopped and attacked the Marine for a moment. That Marine spotting the Lings and the Lings being on A move. Big mistake for Dark. Big missed opportunity. If those Lings got in, that would have been a potentially game-winning move. Like, if they got up that depot before Maru raised it, that would have been big problems for Maru. Maru does move down the ramp. Oh, God, Maru. Oh, God, he's trying to hold the choke point. He's got enough Marines, tanks to hold on for now. The Ling's not able to get in. He's going to keep intercepting the reinforce. He says, Maru, you lazy F2 boy, rallying across the map. How dare you? That's a greedy boy move, that is. The Lings are going to get 1 tank, 2 tanks. Can they get number 3? Oh my god, they just took out 3 tanks and they're evacuating the mineral line. Maru getting a bit cocky. Getting a bit cocky and rallying out there. He knew there was a mass Ling army there, but he makes a big mistake. We've got burrowed Banelings here and here. He's also got burrowed Zerglings on the base. Maru's income is not that great. You just got to fear the mules normally, but right now, he's running out of mineral patches to mine from. If Dark can just keep taking expansions in opposite corners and giving them up and backstabbing, he can take good fights. He's got Ultras out. He doesn't have 3-3 just yet. It's 2-2 versus 2-2. Ultras will catch a siege tank, but the Lings did not take a good fight. These Ultras, I don't know without kindness plating if this makes sense. Oh, he gets a decent hit or 2. But the moment he's getting kited, those Ultras are not great units. Remember, there's no Infestors here. There's no giant comeback units. 66 drones for Dark. Let's shout out Dark for saying, I mean, seriously, he's only lost 15 drones? How has he only lost 15 drones? He's lost like 7 hatcheries this game. Half of them are being cancelled. 4 of them have been killed. He's got this base trying to go up in the top right. Looks like Lings unburrowed there. Some Lings ran in the natural and Banelings as well blew up the depot. SCVs are trying to get back out of that third. There's more Banelings coming here. They are not going to do anything. The tank will take those out. Marines in the main base going to find the money right now. The same angle Maru was hitting earlier. A big problem for Dark in this game. The Marines going to try and lure him into the tanks and the libs. He doesn't want to pick up because he wants to lure Dark onto that cliff where there's a Liberator, 2 tanks, a few Marines on the low ground. Dark needs to flank that as soon as possible. Hard to keep up with the action in this one. What a way to start a grand finals, guys. It is a scrappy game. Both players are forcing mistakes out of each other. They're trying to take advantage of each other in the positioning war. The Ultras are going to get the top of the Marines. He takes some damage, but Transfuse does keep him alive. Remember, there's only 3 Queens out. He's building 3 more, as well as Anabolic Synthesis kicks in. Remember, Anabolic Synthesis gives a movement speed upgrade off creep, guys. And you can tell the Ultras have it because they get little speed lines behind them when they're moving. Notice these guys have little speed lines behind them. If you look closely, there's like a little animation, like, woo, they're like racing through. Little speed races. Oh, Liberator gets a few drones up there. It's 11 drones in total going down. These Ultras taking a lot of damage every time they're sitting there. Ultra Ling looking for an ambush on the natural. Lingbane Ultra looking for the roll-in on the third. This could be a terrible move for Dark or a great one. He decides, no. Too many tanks and libs. Not a good idea, and that is the right choice. Libs are very good versus Ultras. They do 75 damage. An Ultralisk here with +3 armor has 7 armor. So you want tanks and libs do enough damage to not care about that armor. Marines, on the other hand, only with +2 attack, doing 8 damage versus 7 armor. They're doing 1 damage a shot. 500 Marine shots to kill one of these Ultralisks. Whew. Working this angle, it's definitely past time Dark got rid of this. Dark needs to kick him off this territory and retake this base. Flanks the bottom, gets rid of a tank, make it 2. I think he got rid of 3. Let's check. No, one of the tanks did save into that medevac, so 2 tanks go down. 12 tanks have died in this game. Only 1 Ultra, which is pretty impressive. But it's time for Dark to get Infestors, I feel. If he can get a few Infestors, it meshes so well with this army. You catch Maru out of position one time, you're going to ruin him. The other problem is anti-air. As the Liberator count grows, you want to squeeze in either... He's going to go... I was going to say either Aspire or Vipers. He's going to go Vipers. That's the most accessible thing. Just use Abducts or Parasitic Bombs to slowly damage them. But he doesn't have a lot of anti-air. Only 6 Queens. He's building 2 more. His creep spread's being kind of gypped a little bit here. Lingbane Ultra is close by. But you know what? He's about to lose his hive, and that's a big issue. Oh, the Rando Calrissian is actually sieging the natural. Takes out a depot there. Nice. Maru does not have max supply available, so he does have to rebuild that depot. It's 100 minerals worth of damage. Big Doom drop in the main. The hive going down is a disaster. Even losing a gas here is annoying, even though there's only a few hundred gas left. That sucks, man. He does start Pathogen Glands. Dark has decided he wants to win this grand finals. Yes! Like I said at the start, I really feel if Dark goes into Infestors earlier rather than later, he's such a king with Infestors, it can help set him up. Now, this is not the game I was talking about. I was talking about a late game, more turtle game. This is a late game scrap fest where they're not really that deep in terms of tech production bases. Maru's mining out his initial 3 bases right now. Like, his first 2 bases are almost completely gone. But man, he's doing good damage right now. Yeah, we need some parasitic bombs on these medevacs. Maru's like, yeah, let's get out of there. No reason to give those Vipers a free cast. He's going to lift that base out to the left. That's his main. You can see the third is got quite a few minerals because it's been ransacked by Dark so many times. Natural's completely gone, other than 2 mineral patches that'll disappear soon. Rando does throw out these 2 locusts. Ghost comes forward and snipes him. It's a bit of a bummer losing him. 3 ultras on the left, though. That's an undefended base. And Dark is going to realize this sort of game, you need to keep hitting the sides with Ling Bane, Ultra. Probably just Zerglings. If there's no planetary, Lings are the cheapest way of dealing with it. Widowmines waddle down into the natural and actually get a few drones. Oh, he doesn't have a lair, so he's only got spores for detection. He has no overseers. Oh, that might just be GG. Sniping the ultras up front with these ghosts. He's got a liberator. You can't engage here, I don't think. Abducts a few of the libs. Dark, surprisingly decent start to the engage. He gets a tank or so, but doesn't manage to kill the libs. That's a huge problem. He doesn't have answers. Ultras come in from the left. Lingbane from the right. 27 workers have gone down. The Banelings could get set off there and do some damage, but he's too busy at home right now. Queens are trying to hang on against the liberator push. Infestors come forward. He's going to throw a fungal, but he's got nothing to capitalize on that fungal. It's a completely unsupported Infestor Queen force. They will take out a Liberator or so. Start to push him back. He's trying to break out. Is Dark. He's still got some Ling Bane there. They could unburrow, but there's a tank nearby, so they're not going to be that effective. Ultra Flank comes in. There's no snipe energy available on these ghosts. Ultras go in, and then they pull away to the left. Snipes unable to connect. Great positioning by Dark right now. This scrappy king that he is. He actually manages to get 4 SCVs with the unburrows. Not expecting that. Dark cannot throw units away right now, though. There's been too much going on. He's too busy defending at home. The Ultra goes down. He loses a few more units up front. He's only got 1 Viper, 5 Queens, a few Infestors left, a couple of Ultras and Lings and Banes. The left base is wide open again, though. Maru keeps on sending workers to wide open bases. Even a single Zerg is going to do good damage there. The SCVs are trying to run away right now. The Bio does scramble back to defend. Ultra does try to stand and fight. It gets gunned down. Maru, though, is shutting down Dark's economy at the same time. Both sides will not let the opponent mine. This game is sick. I'm so excited. The Widow Mines never got dealt with. Oh, no. Those Widow Mines, finally, Dark is going to deal with them. He's been under too much pressure. The Ultras and the Lings have mostly been dealt with. A few have burrowed that can come back later. Very little mining for Maru. He's going to try to reclaim that base on the left. This army on the front needs to get dealt with. There's no fungal. There's not enough Ultra Ling. I think this might be the game-winning engagement. If you can take out those 2 Ultras, Maru will push forward and win the game. The Infestors running in. They do not have energy. They're using foul language right now to try and hurt the Terran. Maru says, that doesn't hurt me. Sticks and stones and ultra bones may break my bones, but Infestors will never hurt me. The Infestors do not have enough energy to fungal. The drones are pulled, and it looks like at the end of a almost 20-minute action-packed war, Maru comes out on top. All right, guys, Maru in the top right side of the map. Looks like he feels like Dark doesn't have a great answer to the 2-Rex Reaper. Feels like a solid opening for him. I do think there's a few players out there. You know, there's some dirty Baneling busts as well. Some other strategies that can punish this. Remember Raynor catching Beyond with the Baneling bust. That Beyond scouted coming and still died to. That made me realize there are some fragile moments. The low ground wall off is always something where if the Zerg can hit you with the right attack, you don't have the option to just pull back to that lovely high ground ramp. The 2-Rex Reaper actually has a lot of follow-ups. It's really hard to scout what it actually is what Twitch chat says. That's a really great point, guys. I disagree, though. I think Zergs suck at scouting against it, and I really think your Overlord could be much more ambitious. Now, maybe it's just because I haven't seen the games where the Terran's like, hey, your Overlord's in my base when it shouldn't be. I'm going to stop at 2 Reapers and start building Marines. But normally it's always 3 Reapers. I feel like the Overlord can poke a bit deeper, maybe. I could be wrong. I mean, I like that Dark's at least scouting for the quick expansion. Some players don't do that, and I think that's really bad. Seeing the quick expansion is good. It is, I guess it's hard to see the next part, depending on where they place the buildings. You guys are right. So there could be a 3rd command center go down. There could be a quick factory. There could be 2 more barracks. There's a lot of options in the follow-up. Oh, first Reaper's already arrived, guys. Dark always builds 6 Lings, so he's always got an abundance of early Zerglings to kind of rotate in and out. Pull back the weak ones. Uh-oh, he's got 3 weak ones. He's going to lose one. Queen is out. She hasn't injected yet. Looks like he might want to go Creep Tumor first. Not a bad idea. Yeah, no, a Creep Tumor there connects you from the high ground and the low ground. Remember, he got the Creep Tumor here sniped last time. He's going to guard that natural. Now, interesting on the Overlord placement. He's got 1 Overlord out front. The other Overlord normally goes here, but he's sending it... I don't know where that Overlord's going. Bit of an odd placement on it. Oh, he's going to move it on the gas. Doesn't watch the southern point of the jump in. All right, Maru does snipe 2 Lings so far. Nothing too crazy. I like that Dark has only built 4 Zerglings, and he's already droning. Dark's playing very confident droning, and with a quick 3rd hatchery. He's not really respecting the Triple Reaper much at all. And I really like that. That's what I want to see. If your opponent's playing 3 Command Center follow-up again... Okay, it is factory into 3rd Command Center, which I think is what he did last game. I can't quite remember, but definitely something you want to be a bit greedy if you know they don't want to throw these Reapers away, especially because Dark is known for rushing Ling speed. So Maru might not have even checked the ling speed timing. He might not realize that ling speed is still 30 seconds away. You can see he's not really risking anything. Only 4 Zerglings. He's going to build 4 more. Then he's just going to go back to drones and overlords. Great play by Dark. He's really towed the line of greed very well. Hasn't been punished for it. And Maru now going stim. 3 Marines at a time. He's going to do the Starport Reactor swap over for the 2-1-1 follow-up. I would imagine... I don't think he's going to open Widowmine drop again. But let's be real. Dark handled that first Widowmine drop very poorly last game. That was a big part of where Dark lost the momentum. Dark starting a lair and a second gas. Now, if this was versus a more standard opening for Maru, I'd say he's going to Nydus Queen Ling all in. Now, the reason he can't be doing Nydus Queen Ling is that would make absolutely no sense against someone who's got 2 barracks pumping Marines. They're going to have stim and way too many Marines. Which means Mutalisks, right? Like, those are the only 2 options, as far as I know. Unless, okay, there is a Banshee follow-up to this build, and he doesn't know what it is. So you could argue the fast lair is just to get an Overseer Scout. He's going to go for a Baneling speed pretty early. With a 3rd gas coming up, he could still afford a Spire pretty soon if he wants to go Spire straight away. It's a pretty quick lair. But he doesn't know it's about to finish. If he saw it finish right now, he'd know it's a super quick lair, and that would really raise alarm bells. Maru does go for Widowmine drop again. Macro Hatch is already on the way. It is a Spire. It is a Spire. Okay, he's going for the Spire. All right. Big map for it. This is one of the better maps for it. If you're going to play Mutalisks, you want a lot of room between you and them. The problem is that... Oh, actually, no. I was going to say the problem is that Maru is playing Widowmines, but he's not, is he? Because he does a Widowmine drop. Then he swaps into tanks. And it's not until his 3rd is landed, he builds a second factory with a reactor out front and then starts building Widowmines. Now, Dark sees this. He builds a Spore. The Widowmine drop's coming in. He's on point. Look at that. He's all over it. Oh, he could have killed that with the Lings if he just attacked it. But he didn't attack. He's just trying to drag the shots away. Oh. Loses 3 drones and a couple of units. I guess not having the detection was an issue. He could have morphed an Overseer if he had an Overlord in the mineral line, but he didn't have an Overlord in the mineral line, so he knew he couldn't get an Overseer there in time. Overall, 3 drones and a few Zerglings is not the end of the world. I mean, it's a few more than a few. That is 22 Zerglings in total that have died. But you're on 63 drones. You're looking for a 4th base. You're feeling pretty good. But remember last game, he couldn't defend his 4th. And he actually realizes that right now. He's like, well, I don't have enough Lings. And he's actually... Oh, he's been supply blocked on 82. Dark! Oh, Dark, don't just die to a double drop. Oh, this is such a dumb way to lose a game in a grand finals, Dark. Oh, God. He's got to mass Zerglings right now. He was supply blocked for so long. He's distracted by the Widowmines. Oh, no, Dark. He's showing that Dark macro. Trying to go macro hatch, 4th base, Baneling speed, and Spire, and 65 workers, while Maru was cutting SCV production to hit a vicious timing. Maru's only at 48 SCVs. Guys, he's cut workers to hit this, and he's done the same thing 2 games in a row. Oh my God. Great handling by Dark to only lose 5 workers. I mean, that was great scrambling. Like, Dark's ability to handle bad situations is second to none. But man, you just don't want to be finding yourself in these bad situations so commonly. He's got to morph an Overseer here to deal with that, right? Or he doesn't even need to, actually, because it has fired. There's no armor yet. But yeah, this is a very, very greedy opening for Dark. Like, he was hoping to get away with murder. And once again, Maru is cutting SCV production. Maru's just saying, oh, I can just kill you. He's like, oh, I've recognized that Dark is like some of the loosest openings in StarCraft. And this is a good idea because if you give Dark room to breathe, he'll go double macro hatch. He'll get 5 bases, 80 drones, and he will smash you with his late game control and micro. But his early game sucks. Dark's macro, his opening build orders are some of the least efficient for a top tier player in the world. So Maru's saying, if I just keep cutting workers and having non-stop army production and keep hitting aggressive timings, I will never let him get set up, and I will keep the advantage that way. 1-1 is going to finish up for both players very soon. Maru's will finish earlier. If he kills the 3rd, gets rid of these Evos as well, he wins the game. Ling Bane going for a bit of a backstab. Well, just the Lings are. The Banes are coming back. He's got to defend that. You cannot lose your Carapace upgrade. Oh! He doesn't get it. Dark saves the Carapace. He's going to start jumping on top, but his Lings are not backstabbing right now. He's losing a lot of Banelings. Oh, man. Dark is in a corner. His 1-1 upgrades do finish. His Lings go in. He could get some counter damage, but he cannot lose the 3rd. Losing your 3rd, getting put back on 2 base is a disaster. And Dark tries to rush lair, Baneling speed, and double upgrades, and a macro hatch against a Maru that's cutting work as he gets punished hardcore, and Maru finds his way to a 2-0 lead on a fantastic map for Zerg as well. All right, guys, Maru says, you know what? I think I found the secret sauce. I can do the exact same thing every game, and kill him. Now, to be fair, I didn't actually study game 1, but after studying that game 2 replay, I now know that Maru cut a crazy amount of SCVs. He was way down on workers from where he would be if he was keeping constant worker production. So he not only, with his 3 command center build, missed a lot of SCV production, which is really bizarre, because why bother with the 3rd command center? Maybe he wanted Dark to scout it and think, oh, you're being greedy, I could be greedy. But it feels like a mistake to me, the way he did it, because Dark normally doesn't scout for your 3rd command center. He just reacts at home and defends and watches what comes across the map. So I really want to ask Maru, and I'm going to, if you guys can remind me watching live to message one of the, maybe Crank or someone, to ask him after this game, did he mean to skip SCVs and do those supply drops? Because supply drop is way less efficient in the long term than dropping a mule. A mule mines 225 minerals, whereas a supply drop only saves you 100 minerals. But the supply drop kicks in instantly, so it's very good for hitting timing attacks. If you drop 1 or 2 supply drops in a build to keep non-stop units pumping out, it allows you to support more production earlier than if you were to have to build those depots and just drop mules and wait for the income to come in. So a mixture of dropping supply depots and, oh my god, he gets a drone kill. Very nice start for Maru in game 3. Dark, come on, man. If we go down 3-0, the chances of a comeback are very low. Losing a drone is so bad. Oh, feels like Maru's got all the momentum. And the problem is that he's in his comfort zone right now, and he's just kind of doing his thing. That being said, just doing his thing. He's going 3 racks, 4 racks. He's doing a 4 racks build. Okay, Maru's going to do the 4 racks. So Maru's actually saying, you know what? I'm not going to play the exact same. It looks exactly the same. It's still a 3 Reaper opening, but he's going to change it up, and he's going to go for a 4 racks mass marine attack. Now, often you pull SCVs with this. Maru tried this versus Raynor on Dragon Scales over in Sweden recently. I guess a few months ago now. Raynor scouted it and saw the move out, had Banelings, shut it down. Dark is known for rushing double upgrades and delaying his Baneling nest a lot, though. He's also not necessarily... Oh my gosh, another drone! Maru is all over it! Maru's been looking great when he gets like 1 or 2 Zerglings or 1 creep tumor only with his Reapers. This time he gets 2 drones. And that's a big problem for Dark. On the other hand, Dark's doing a great job of not overbuilding Zerglings. He's holding the drone key down really hard. So I would say he's making up for the fact that, yeah, that's rough. Oh, he loses a tumor as well. Maru's looking pretty tight right now. He's going to start combat shields. 4 Marines building at a time. He needs 100 gas before shields start, so just waiting on that for now. Dark's being pretty conservative with his Overlord placement for now, and that's good because once you see the Marines come out, you want to pull all these Overlords that are easily sniped away. Lings and Queen ready. Oh, still gets a Zergling. Tries to get a second one. Isn't quite able to. Combat shield starts up, so you want to push out usually probably about 5 minutes, maybe 4:45 with a big pack of Marines here. Notice he's cutting SCVs again, guys. Again, another big all-in. Another big all-in from Maru. My gosh, he's going to pull SCVs. Yeah, look, he's not building workers at all. He's just pumping Marines. So this seems to be his MO. And, you know, if Dark's not watching the replays, if he doesn't have a coach with him or a teammate who's watching from the sideline saying, hey, Dark, he's cutting workers every game. He's just trying to hit sharp timing attacks. If your opponent cuts workers, that is, stops building workers to just produce army, that consistently means they need to get damage done. It means you can be more safe. Build less workers, build more fighting units to be safe. And you know what? Dark is going mass hatchery tech 3 gas roach ravager right now. So he seems to anticipate there's going to be a Marine push. The SCVs are being pushed. Roaches and Ravagers are very good against this, but he's gone back to drones. He doesn't know it's coming. This Overlord's going to be his first sign of the Marines. Does Maru hide the SCVs, or does he just shove it? I think he just shoves it. Just shoves it. The SCVs get spotted for half a second there. 4 drones are building. He starts to spine. Dark saw what's happening. He's only got 8 Roaches, 6 Queens. Roaches kick butt against this, but he's outnumbered, and Stim is done. Shields is about to be done. The SCVs are in the front line. Marines going after it. Nice angling for Dark. The drone's being pulled back on the right side. He wants to kind of let the Stim run out if possible, but he doesn't have the time to wait. Roaches do have 1 armor, as do Queens. Very important for tanking against these Marines, but he's getting overwhelmed right now. Oh no! Dark is taking a lot of damage. He needs to get more Roaches together. The Marines are overstimmed. Those drones trying to run away. Spinecrawler does go down. It's okay to lose another 10-15 workers and you'll still be in the lead. Remember, Maru was not building SCVs and he pulled the boys with this. He needs more damage. He's got crazy firepower. They evaporate the Roaches, but the Marines are strung out, man. This is that point in Train Spotting where they take the heroin away and chain him to the bed. These Marines are fiending. They took way too many drugs, and you could see them all go down to a single Roach hit at the end of that. Way too many stims there. 19 drones go down. And 39 workers versus 22. 2 command centers versus 3 hatcheries. Dark holds on. Going for a safe triple gas roach play. A good way to hold on there. Very nicely played by Dark. I think heroin's probably the stark opposite in terms of drugs to stim packs, to be fair. I don't think heroin's a stimulant. Let's put it that way, guys. I don't think you have any high-functioning employees on on that going about their business. Not at all. So drugs are bad, okay? Stay away from drugs, kids. And I think StarCraft has a lot to teach you that, you know? If you take too many, that's going to be a problem. The experienced... the users in the chat, the StarCraft users, of course, are what I'm referring to, say it's probably more like meth, apparently. Apparently the stories of the Germans using that back in World War II, right? And some of their troops. Don't know how true that is or how widespread. Anyways, SCV's pumping out right now. We've got a starport on the way. Maru is going to try and recover in a macro game. So what Maru needs to do right now is not just play great StarCraft, guys. He needs to pull a rabbit out of a hat. And then he needs to pull out a cat, then a dog, and then an ostrich. If he can get an ostrich out of a hat, he can bring this game back. At 64 supply versus over 100, he goes for a 6 marine run by on the right. And he's like, yeah, I got an overlord. That there, okay, he pulls a rabbit out of the hat. And then he sticks his hand in again. He pulls his hand out and his hand's missing. Whatever was in the hat got just bit off Maru's hand. That did not pay off. He gets an overlord for 5 or 6 marines. When you're this far behind, you need crazy good trades. That is not a good enough trade there. He's got decent production, but he's just starting his eBays now. Dark is so far ahead on the income and has been for a long time in this game. You can see now we're coming up on 5 minutes of massive spikes of income in the advantage for Dark, spiking at over 1,800 minerals a minute advantage, currently somewhere between 600 and 1,200 resources a minute. Double engineering bay in the back of the natural. 1-1 upgrades are on the way. 4th hatchery goes down for Dark. Now, it's a good stabilization for Dark. Now, for those who didn't see, Dark actually told me, not told me, but I cast a game of him recently where he did this exact same follow-up against a 2-rack Reaper. I think he must have been playing Beyond on this map, same map, and he went for mass hatchery tech roaches. And what he didn't realize is the Terran had actually played 3 command center, and he built, I think it was like 40 roaches without roach speed. And then the Terran still attacked into it, threw the army away. So it kind of was okay for Dark, but he was still so far behind in economy, he lost in the long run. So it's a really oddball opening. It almost feels like he's trying to just blind counter the 4 racks all in, which is what he's done this game. And it's definitely one of those classic kind of Dark special maneuvers that is very hard to fully understand his thought process on. But it's paid off big this time, so can't be criticizing it too hard. 5 drones do go down, just kind of puzzling about, did he know the 4 racks was coming earlier? Because look at his scouting, guys. He saw just the barracks at the start with the Overlord. He's seen nothing else. Maybe just because the barracks started producing Marines earlier than they normally do, he was able to read into that. Maybe something. Maybe Dark has like one of those really advanced things where often as observers, if we haven't spoken to the pros recently, or they often don't want to tell you what the tells are, we think, oh, they need to see so-and-so to know what they're doing. And they'll have like a really small tell, like, oh, actually, if they don't start stim by 3 minutes and 10 seconds, then I know that they're committing to a 3rd command center before factory or something like that. And you'll be like, what? Oh, you can tell without even seeing the 3rd command center? Of course you can. You're a pro gamer. You've got this stuff mapped out. You notice patterns. You really start to study them all. Good trades for Maru, guys. Really, like the last few little Marine trades have been fantastic. The problem for him is that Dark is about to pick up a giant brick of roaches and smash it into his skull. And Maru's a strong guy. He's a very good StarCraft player. I don't think anyone defends this amount of Roach Ravager with this tiny 68 supply army. 1-1 upgrades for him, but Carapace is finished. Dark is going to shove in from the right and the left. Biles get on top of the tanks. 2 tanks are down. 3rd tank is exposed. The Marines try to stim into the exposed Ravagers on the south, but a reinforcer Roaches come forward, and the SCVs are only going to buffer for so long. Even the medevacs are getting hammered by the Bile. Dark pulling back these units until more reinforcements arrive. He's also breached the natural as Siege Tank tries to come in. Dark here getting a point on the board. I'm very, very happy to see it, guys. I would have been really upset if Maru did kind of just a nice all-in, got a 3rd game victory. I mean, it would be interesting because it's dominant for Maru, but it's good to see that Dark still got some killer instincts. Shuts this one down, and he's able to overwhelm with Mass Roach. Maru taking surprisingly decent engagements here. It's amazing how well Maru's surviving. He's absolutely dead. We're watching a dead man fighting for his life with amazing skill, picking off those roaches whenever he finds a few of them on their own. But there's just too much Zerg, man. All right, guys, getting back into it. Game 4, Maru has 2 barracks Reaper. What a surprise. Is this Beyond we're looking at? Because I think it says Maru from Onside Gaming versus Dragon Kaiser Gaming's Dark. This is feeling like Beyond with the repetitiveness of this opening. Now, to be fair, it's a solid opening, guys, and he converges in different directions. We saw in that last game, he has a different variation. The one I don't think we've seen yet is straight factory before 3rd command center. That is the one follow-up that I'd like to see him mix in there, the very quick double drop. But I don't know how often Maru does that, so it might just be 3 command center again like he did in Game 1 and Game 2. Then get the factory and stuff. Oh, no, Dark! Okay, barely gets that Spore Crawler down. Remember, he lost 2 drones at the start of that last game. It was not a great opening in terms of the early defense of the Reapers. Oh, God. Get those Zerglings out of there, Dark. Dark's not really one for deselecting the Zerglings from his control group, I notice. Interestingly, wait, he's only got 5 Zerglings on his army. Where's his 6th one? Oh, he did. He did actually pull a Zergling off his control group. Cool. Okay, never mind. 2 queens are there. 3rd hatchery's on the way. Sitting on just 6 lings and making nothing but drones now. Decently timed ling speed. Starting at 3 minutes. Going to finish about 4:10. So, just pretty standard there. And this is the 3rd command center follow-up once more. But Dark sees it. This is what I was talking about. Is the Marines always come out so late because they build 3 Reapers. Then they build the tech lab and the reactor. I feel like your Overlord's pretty safe in the Terran base for a long time, so Dark knows exactly what Maru's doing. And he knows, yeah, I don't really need to worry about too much. You're probably going to do the exact same Widowmine drop, but this time I'm going to shut it down. And obviously I'm saying that kind of leaning in like, please Dark, shut down the Widowmine drop. If he does the same 4 Widowmine drop again and you take a lot of damage for the 3rd time in this series, things ain't looking good. Oh, he loses a queen! Uh-oh. Oh, Maru, man. Maru's openings are on fire. On the other hand, Dark's droning so hard, I don't think it's the end of the world. He didn't lose any lings, no drones. I would actually rather usually lose a queen at this point than lose those 2 drones early, because the 2 extra drones mining this whole time is going to pay for that queen and then some. Oh, he gets a creep tumor. Now, it's not the most important creep tumor, but usually you do want creep all along these edges. So we'll see if Dark ever remembers to drop that. Otherwise, there is often, you know, Marines dropping in the corners. Having a little bit more movement and allowing your queens to move up to the edge to shoot medevacs coming in is very useful. Factory there as well. Why is Dark scouting in this game, Pig? I thought he's a psychic. I often think watching Dark's games that, yeah, he is a psychic as well. He's going lair and gases. He's going to play Mutalisks again. Ooh-wee. All right, guys, we're going to get to see Dark play what he meant to play on Ancient Cistern, but he's going to do it properly this time, not get supply blocked, and look in a better position, no doubt. The Marines are pushing out. This is interesting. So the Marines are kind of just faking a push out. Lings actually get 2 Marines, not too bad for a few Zerglings. Generally okay to trade Zerglings at a little bit of a deficit. Most of that unit's lost tab. 150 minerals is from the Queen. Stim's done. Shields has not started. As I say it, Shield starts. Maru's like, shut up, caster. And 3rd barracks will go down. Double engineering bays on the way. Cutting a tiny bit of SCV production, but for the most part, you can see he's been a bit more consistent than in those previous games. I think he will be catching up on the workers very fast. Already floating the 3rd down. Wow. He's a while. He hasn't even taken his 4th gas, but Maru's just like, no, I want to get that 3rd mining immediately. Very macro focused. No Widowmine drop this time around, remember. He's just swapping into medevac production. He's going to get the 3rd barracks, siege tanks building. Now you might be wondering, why is the 3rd barracks there? Usually you want to swap that onto this reactor because you don't need non-stop medevac production yet. You need to get more Marines. So you'll build another reactor with the starport after the first 2 medevacs and swap into just heavy Marine production as those barracks come down. Now Dark's playing Roaches. This map is amazing for swarming the 3rd with Roaches because it's so wide open. Tanks can cover from the high ground, but they can't cover that far. So you can easily bile down the mineral line, kill the command center. They have to lift the command center to get away. The natural ramp, though, very hard to breach with Roaches. So aggressively, Roaches are amazing. The problem with Roaches is if you don't go and kill them, Roaches suck at defending. Look at the spread of the bases. Multi-prong medevac drops are a nightmare to deal with because you don't have much anti-air. You've only got 5 queens. And generally speaking, if he just tries to do that defensive Roach style, it's going to be hard to pull off. Maru, is going to come in now with a marine pressure. The roaches say, nah, get out of here. And Maru is going to need to be very careful with his tanks. Maru has a history of playing against mass roach styles and then moving his tanks out, sieging them in the open, and just getting them killed. He's going to do it for now. It's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Dark is a little supply blocked as he starts a 4th base. 1-1 upgrades are on the way. It's going to be about a minute, just over that, 70 seconds until 1-1's finished. If Dark goes for an attack, that's when he'll do it. He does land a corrosive bile on his own roach. Slight misfire. And more marines. So double drop on the left, marine drop on the right. Those units are out of position though, and you miss a roach attack coming. What do you got? You've got 2 tanks and nothing else. I would love the tanks to be in the natural. If you're going to send this many marines across the map, it is really showing a blatant disrespect for the power of a roach attack. This is how Maru has lost. This is why Maru is not a world champion and not especially a Katowice champion. Is he sees mass roach and he just disrespects it, puts his tanks in the open and gets killed by 1-1 roach attacks. I'm not saying he's going to lose this game, but I'm saying Dark is definitely committing to this. You've seen a crazy roach ravage account. There are no ifs or buts. This is not a fast 4th. There's no way Dark is going quick hive here. Maru should have his tanks in a very defensive position. Upgrades are about to finish. Maru's moving even more marines on the map. Nothing at home at all. Dark has not snuck across just yet. He's looking for a Nydus worm surprise, but you should pair that up with another attack. If you show the Nydus worm and nothing else, you're in trouble. There is a gap in the vision right there, but the Overlord cannot see there right now. Dark, he should already be on his way across the map. I think he might be missing his timing. Maru's aggression throwing him off a little bit. Maru might be getting cocky, but it could pay off. If he keeps Dark at home, that's going to be massive. Dark's almost maxed. Dark needs to start moving now while he has the supply advantage. He cannot let more tanks and marines get out. But right now, there's 4 medevacs on this side of the map. He's going. Here we go, guys. He's going to go and hit that front. The tanks have pulled back to the natural. Maru showing some respect. Unfortunately, he built depots on the low ground. You never want to build depots versus a roach style because you know at some point you have to lift your command center to survive. He's going to stim into the main to deal with the Nydus worm. Dark coming in there. The quad drop's coming home. Will it get there in time? There's 3 tanks on the front. Dark does not have an overseer in position right now. He needs an overseer to spot those tanks. Otherwise, they're going to ruin him. No overseer on the front, which means those tanks are unkillable. The Nydus worm gets shut down. And Dark, he's going to force the 3rd to lift, but I think he needs to drone up right now. I don't think he's going to breach that expansion. Notice Maru is expecting... Oh, there we go. Overseer comes forward. Maru's expecting him to try to run forward, so he's moved 2 tanks back. He's going to go for a quad drop down the right side. Dark, I don't know if he saw that. I feel like he missed it. That quad drop could kill his entire economy. This is very smart by Maru. Maru's got to keep moving these tanks back. Oh, he loses a tank. Big problem for him. Big problem. But moving up that ramp would be suicide for Dark here. Dark starts 2-2. He needs gases on his 4th, and he needs to tech up to Hydras, Lurkers, Vipers, and then he'll just dominate 4 base versus 2 base. The problem right now is he's on Mass Roach, and Mass Roach scales very poorly. If Maru can max out with 2-2 Biotank, you're still stuck on Mass Roach Ravager. You lose, and you lose that quite badly. He's got a few roaches at home, but not enough to handle that marine ball. Maru with a decisive shove. Roach Ravager does stumble in the front, do some biles there, but he needs more Roach Ravager at home. Dark does lose a hatchery on his 3rd base. Gets enough for a Ravager there, but now he's back to 3 base versus 2, and that's a position which Maru can handle a little more. Unfortunately, Maru's barracks will burn down in a moment. He doesn't have that much production. That's going to put him back to just 4 barracks. That does go down. He's got a 2nd tank production coming up, 2nd factory tank production. Changelings are in the natural right now. Maru has not dealt with them. Does catch a queen off creep down there. There's only 4 queens. Those are the only things that shoot up in this game, and there's 2 exposed here. If he could focus those queens down, that would be huge. He's going to focus the roaches to start. Gets in on the mineral line. Maru playing a very good game. Dark has not got a great economy. He's down on workers. He gets a queen snipe. Does Maru. Gets up, gets out. Shoves the right again. There's not enough roaches. Oh, no. Dark has got so many units focused on containing Maru that he's taking enough damage that Maru is buying himself time to remax. Does it feel good as Maru being stuck on 2 bases? No. But his army's growing. The thing is... I think Vipers are the scariest thing. If he can hit pre-Viper, he's good, but the hive's already halfway done. Vipers are the big problem. There's enough bio. He could stim on this Roach Ravager, and Dark would lose the fight. Tries to buy the medevacs. Dark needs to get out of there. If he gets surrounded, if those Marines stimmed behind him, he would have lost all this Roach Ravager. Dark still got... Yeah, Dark has, I think, an inferior army, but the tanks are sieging in range. Oh, he tries to buy all the medevacs. Doesn't land any. Nydus Worm does go down. Still Mass Roach Ravager. Not the biggest worker count, just 60 drones. Dark is like, cool, you're coming into the open. This is where I kill you. This is where I win this game. He's going to come in with a 3-sided fight, or 4-sided. He's going to... Units on the right, units in the middle, and units on the left. He's going to try and go for it. Here we go! Coming in from every angle right now. That tank in the top is going to go down very quickly. Bile spreading across the line. Nice angling. Dark's roaches on the bottom are a little clumped. A few more roaches in the left side probably would have been really effective here. Great hold by Maru. What was so impressive there is he pulls the SCVs. Losing 17 workers seems bad, but if you lose your tank bio, you're dead. A lot of people pull those SCVs too late, and they've lost all their damage output. If you lose your marine tank, SCVs are useless versus roaches. All they can do is tank for a little bit. Maru does an amazing job of holding on, and now Dark's running home with just 60 drones. His economy advantage does not really exist anymore in this game. And that was a big, big delayed all in there for Dark. He took way too much damage losing this third base twice. He's got the gases mining on the fourth. Kind of messes up his mining momentarily there. Hive is here. He's going to go Neural Parasite and Burrow? Whoa, what? Viper's hard counter the tanks and would allow his Roach Ravager to win this game, surely. A few Infestors make sense. But going Neural Parasite and Tunneling Claws, Dark is going for the memeiest strategy right now. And the part of me that wants Dark to win this game and tie up the series so we get a 7-game best of 7 is critical. The other part that loves Burrow Roaches and Neural Parasite is very excited. He's going to go for a big flanking engage. Good choice to pull back. Maru has a great position. Giving up this base might be the play. Dark still has very good tech here coming in. Yeah, he's going to give it up. Oh, you don't want to lose the infestation, though. Doesn't want to lose Neural Parasite. Luckily, Maru doesn't necessarily realize it's there, even though he spotted it. Big counterattack coming in. Gonna have to abandon that base, Maru. Maru's got to lift that base right now. Get out of there, man. Oh! He was distracted at home, and he just ate the fungals to end all fungals. His whole bio army just gets ripped to shreds. Absolutely huge fungal. Dark pulls some green boogers out of his bloody nose and just smothers them on Maru's army. Who knew that would be so toxic? That was powerful. Now, unfortunately, he lost Neural Parasite, guys. So these Infestors are just fungal boys. He's got no way of dealing with the tanks, and I don't think he has the numbers. I don't think he has enough of a Roach flank. He lands a decent fungal, but the Infestors get focused down. It's so many tanks, and I think Maru might make the crazy comeback. Another fungal lands on the Medivacs. The Infestors do burrow. Enough Roach Ravager comes in from the right. He's going to clean it. Dark cleans up the push, but there are reinforcements coming through the middle of the map. 56 SCV, 4 base Terran with only orbital command centers. No planetary, so he's very vulnerable to Tunneling Claw harass, right? And he's got no turrets as well, does he? Okay, he's seeing the Tunneling Claws. He's building a turret there. Where's the other turret? In his third base. He doesn't have one in his fourth. Tunneling Claw Roaches are going to come in. 3-3's about to kick in for both sides, so that's going to cancel out in the near future. Dark is only on 3 bases. At least it's a fresher third base. This was his fourth initially. He's going to try to rebuild that, and he's got an infest. Oh, he's got Burrow Boys out there. Dude, oh, he's going to jump on it. Look at this. You can tell right now he's very excited. If he can land a fungal and just kill all those guys, bring that infested down, bring that infested down. Get him! Ah, they get into the medevac, but he still kills a full medevac there, so that was definitely worth it. Looks like his roaches ran forward, took a tank shot. There's nothing on that fourth, though. He doesn't realize there's no fourth there. If he ran roaches in there, they'd definitely do well. Maru's still keeping up the double drops. Another infestor spots it on the left, though. These fungals are going to shut down these. You can't do drop pressure like this when there's infestors on the map. Ooh, he's going to take out all these units. Oh, Medevac gets away on 7, or does it? He could unburrow and kill that. Well worth it. Well worth it. Oh, he misses an opportunity. Burrowed Roach tries to come in there, does take it out, and those 5 Marines in the Medevac will escape. Dude, for those who don't know, Dark, he basically has been dead so many times. I feel like all the other pros are so much stronger than him in terms of early build orders. But for those who don't know, Dark is literally the Harry Potter of Zerg. He can be there with the Dementors sucking his bloody soul out of his body, and he goes, Expecto Infestorum! And the number of comebacks this man has made with this unit, it is his hero unit. And this is one of the reasons I love Dark, because I love the Infestor as well. I think it is the most underused unit in all of StarCraft 2 for how good it is. And he is a god. When he gets these burrowed infestors out, he is a friggin' savage, man. He is so good at landing those ambushes. The problem is his economy sucks and he's not recovering it. It feels like if he drones here, takes a 5th, gets to 80 workers, he could do well. But he's sitting on 60 workers, which means he needs to keep landing amazing engagements. Like big fungals, all that stuff. The problem is you're playing Maru, and Maru's realized now, well, okay, I'm just going to get caught by fungal every time I move out. As I say, he sat back for a while. He's going to move into it again. Infestor. Run! Dark! Dark Infestor. It's the game that Maru likes to play there, where he does bot the Infestor on the head, much like the Goose in Duck, Duck, Goose. And does take that one out. He's building Ravens, which is awesome. Like, I think that's the coolest thing here, is he's like, well, I've got 6 medevacs. Let's swap the starport over, build a Raven, and then swap it back onto the reactor and go back to medevacs. Vipers are here. He's only got a few Hydras that are kind of continual anti-air damage. Wouldn't have minded an Abduct on the Marauder. Value is value. But Maru's clearly slowing this game down. If Dark doesn't get a move on right now, he's going to be screwed. And Dark has recently run into a problem in a lot of his games in ZVP, where his late game is what we call the North American late game. So what's the North American late game? Basically, it's what you run into on the ladder is you're maxed out on a composition that makes absolutely no sense. It's like you built units randomly with no understanding of how to play StarCraft. So if you have Roach, Ravager, Infester, but then also Viper, okay, that's okay to get you through, but what are you going to go from there? He's going to go Lurkers, but also Melee Upgrade and Baneling Nest. Well, Lurker Ling Bane is a great composition to transition into if you have 100 drones. Raynor invented that style with 110 drones. It's a very expensive style. You can't do that off 57 workers. It makes no sense. So right now, his transition on terms of tech does not line up with his economy. And that's going to be a problem for him the longer this game goes. And that's heartbreaking because I'm raving about how good his Infester usage is. Oh, Maru gets the Infester! Fungal Parasitic Bomb combo. Does it get both? It gets both. I love that. So cute. For those who don't know, Medevac 150 hit points, Parasitic Bomb does 120 damage, gets it to exactly 30 hit points. Guess how much damage Fungal does? Exactly 30 damage. So nice little combo there. But yeah, this is the problem, is he's kind of trying to swap back into Ling upgrades, and like Ling Bane will be the transition, but 63 drones, like, this is really dangerous. You can see Maru hasn't been maxed for a long time. Maru was very damaged by the early trades, but he's been focused on 73 workers. He's trying to build up an orbital count. He's on 5 orbitals right now. He's going to slowly add more command centers. He's got a good tank turret spready. Maru is just playing for the super late game, and right now, Dark's transition makes very little sense. If Maru doesn't move into him, his army is useless. He's got a great army for ambushing Maru on the map. He cannot run into emplaced defenses. All you can do against a Super Turtle Terran is try to use Broodlords to break those positions, or Nydus Worms in the back. But right now, Dark is sitting on a very low economy. He's still only on 66 workers. He should be at minimum 80 workers so he can build up bank and then play out the turtle game. He's not doing that, and that's why I'm very critical right now. It's unfortunate because he took some great trades in that mid game. It's only down a few thousand resources lost. He's now realizing, okay, Maru's not going to move out and he's building those drones, but he's just made this read that Maru swapped into turtle play way too late in this game. That means Maru has an advantage going into the late game. And I'm already preempting this because if anyone in the comments or the chat, I can already read the comments, like 10 minutes from now, Maru wins. Everyone's like, wow, Zerg's just helpless in the late game. Ghost Sarimba, Terran Zimber. And I'm like, well, you give him this much control and momentum, Terran can look pretty damn broken when you've got the best late game player of all time, Maru, who plays late game better than anybody else in the world, against a Zerg that's put himself behind when he had opportunities to get in a decent spot. Dark can beat Maru, like I said, in the early late game. But he's got to do it in the early late game. He's got to do it with momentum. He hasn't been spreading his creep this whole time either, so he's completely frozen up on the fundamentals of how to make this situation work. Now Maru is slow pushing the right side. He's already sniped those 2 hatcheries. He's going to get another one. Dark's going to go for a counter shove. Is Maru out of position enough for this to work? The Roach Ravager are the units he really wants to get rid of right now. He wants to remove these low efficiency units. There's a nuke on the front. Great choice by Maru to mix in some nukes. He gets a siege tank for about 10, 12 roaches there. Not a great trade. Not too bad. Building more drones than Lings right now. So Dark's going to go back to that mobile style he wants. And if you get to this point where Dark's at, when the Terran's on 3 bases going to a 4th, you can definitely overwhelm with Ling Bane. Ling Bane has got to be one of the worst ways of winning once the opponent has this many orbital command centers and this much of the map. We'll see what he can do. I don't want to talk down on Dark because he's a beast, but this is going to be very hard. 1 or 2 good Fungals could change everything. You know, there's not many turrets down here. There's only 1 Raven. Watch out for that Infester! Big Fungal lands! Dark lands the big Fungal! Oh! I'm cheering for him to make the impossible happen. He just biled down 7 ghosts right there. That was a sick engage. Will he take out the libs on the retreat? Oh, one of the libs missed one of the biles on the other lib, but that was still pretty slick, man. Very good engagement there for Dark. That was some magic right there. Remember, he's moving forward as Maru with a lot of bio far away from his defenses. Nydus in the back of the main is going to come in. Maru, we're on his camera. He hasn't noticed it. He has not noticed it. I don't know what's in the Nydus, though. He has no idea. He's about to hear the screech. Listen for it. Okay, we didn't actually hear that noise that much. There's like a bug in my sound settings right now for some reason. I still haven't figured out why in my version of StarCraft the Nydus screech is not very loud at the moment. Maru doesn't seem to have noticed either. Maybe he didn't hear it either. Maybe it's not just me that has that problem with the Nydus sound. Nothing's popping out, but Dark is at least clearing up the right. He's got to deny this base right now. That's an empty Nydus. A few units have finally loaded into it, but on the left side of the map, oh, he has to cancel his Lurker Morph. Maru's going to get rid of this base as well. Dark's economy is in tatters right now. Some units popping in the main. Finally, Maru's realizing what's happening. The Ravages on the front do get deflected by the tanks. On the left side, Maru takes out a base. Back at home, another Nydus Worm comes up. He's going to try and defend it with a nuke. Who the hell defends a Nydus Worm with a nuclear launch? Okay, right now, he's going random task is Maru. Maru takes off his Fedora, and he flips it at the Nydus, takes out one. This Nydus on the right, far enough away to survive, but a couple of Lurkers do go down. There's Infestors in the main as well. He's clearing out a lot of stuff. Dark is making this a little scrappy. If he had a bigger economy behind it, I'd be okay with it. But remember, he just lost 4 bases in the last minute or two, so he doesn't have a lot of income to remax behind this. Interference Matrix or one of the Infestors. Maru's trying to get rid of this. He's losing a lot of stuff. That command center is burning right now, but he's got the numbers. He jumps on top. Dark says, yep, time to leave. Gets out of there. Burrows a few Zerglings to pop up later. The orbital gets saved by a Mule drop. Mule starts repairing it at the last second. Dark dives on the right side, takes out the planetary and 6 workers. This map is very hard to defend the forward bases. What just happened? Ah! Why? Windows 11, I hate you so much. Windows 11 just tapped us out. I don't know why. I pressed nothing that should have caused that. I have the Windows button disabled. Sorry about that, guys. I was like, what? Is my monitor disconnecting? Nope. Windows 11 just pooping itself. I have no idea what just happened. For those who don't know, you might be wondering why does Matrix work on those units? Matrix, I believe, works on any psionic or mechanical units. So it's spellcasters or mechanical units that it can shut down. Electrocutes them or something to shut down either their magic Psybrain or the working parts. Another hatchery kill there from Maru. He's killed so many of these building hatcheries, up to 6 hatchery snipes right now. Liberator Ras on the left. Dark actually has a decent bank, and if he can keep just denying these new bases, the tank style struggles to secure such a giant map. I've always felt like altitude is not very good for Terran in the ultra late game compared to like Neo-Humanity and stuff like that, where you can really lock it off, because as Maru, I think he needs to give up on the left and just focus on taking these 2 bases. And he's got to move a lot of his tanks forward. The reason he's not moving forward is because we all know how Dark plays late game. Dark looks kind of screwed, and then he grabs his whole army and shoves it up your natural and somehow gets on your production and wins the game. So Maru doesn't want to leave his bases, his central area, undefended because he knows he'll get caught out of position. All right, Liberator doing some nice sieging. Maru does a triple drop surprise. Oh, this is really good. He denies mining on the bottom left, takes out this one. Dark does push forward, abducts 1 or 2 units, takes out a few things, biles the tank, forces the command center back, new Nydus Worm in the back door. Maru has not shut down the Nydus Worms. The Lurkers clean up all that bio. What is the units lost? It's still within 5,000 resources. The problem Dark's having is he keeps losing these front bases. Imagine if he'd already mined a few thousand resources out of these middle bases. Maru would be running out of resources on the map because Dark's lost so much economy as well. Even though he's trading pretty well for Zerg, I'm not convinced he's going to be able to mine more than Maru off the map in total. And if Maru ends up securing just as many middle bases as you do, that is not good for a Zerg because that unit's lost tab sucks. Blue Flame +3 vehicle weapons is there. That means these Hellbats do 39 damage versus light. Even +3 Carapace Zerglings will get one shot by them. So the mobile Ling Bane style won't work. Now there is Mass Lurker, which is terrible versus Tank Ghost. And there's 12 tanks and 17 ghosts. So army versus army, Dark loses. But if he goes around, Lurkers can bust planetaries, Lings can deal with tanks pretty well. That's a good move. I love this move for him. He's going to get rid of the planetary and the orbital. He'll lose a bunch of units doing it, but getting rid of this infrastructure is very important. Building armor has been made. I don't think he ever made high-sec auto-tracking. No, he made that as well. And Maru's held on the bottom right by a pack of Lurkers there. This is really well played here by Dark. I love that he brought a Viper. So even if there was libs there, he could have abducted them a little bit. But the Ghosts will always get efficient cleanups behind it. Then I just did pop some Lings out. He's going to try and get rid of that armory, that +3 plating there. A few more guys do get sniped. Drones long distance mining in range of those tanks. Not too good for the Zerg. Turrets building in the main. He's realizing, wait a second. How are you spotting for these? And he does take out those burrowed Zerglings. That's going to end Dark's reign of terror in the main base. Dark is no longer going to be able to get inside that back door without permission. And here we go. Lurker Ravager attack on the right side. The ghosts are there, though. Get out of there. This is a bad fight for Dark. Those ghosts coming in are going to ruin his day. Oh, my God. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. The Ravagers, the Hydras, the Lurkers, units that suck versus Tank Ghost. It's amazing that Dark was fighting as many good fights as he did up till now, but that was inevitable. At some point, you're going to be fighting your army versus a lot of their army, and Tank Ghost hard counters your army. Now, you can try to play Hydraling Bane and outposition this army, but once they get to 12 siege tanks, the standard, I guess, what would we call it? The doctrine, the understanding from most people is you need to go Infestors to catch the ghosts, or Broodlord and Broodlords to deal with the tanks. Once they get to this many ghosts and tanks, it's very hard to deal with it with just this sort of army. New Lurker harassing the top left. I do love that he's keeping Maru busy. He's going to have to give up this base again as Dark, and that means he's going to try to transfer to the left. He needs to take that gold on the left. Maru's securing these 2 right bases. As long as he doesn't lose this planetary in the top left, he should be okay. Scans and finally takes it out. Now, I haven't pointed this out, but notice why Maru's struggling in the late game, guys, because this is modern Maru. Modern Maru is a lot worse at endgame than he used to be in terms of income. Why? Why do you say that, Pig? What's different? He only has 5 orbital command centers. Remember that Maru made the Iron Bank famous. I don't know, maybe TY did it before him. The Iron Bank is where you build 10 orbital command centers, you have unlimited scans and mules. He does not have that. He's only got 5, so he's not in a true endgame perfect position. Dark's going to take advantage with a great blinding cloud. Jumps on top. The ghosts are here. He's got to get out. He's got to get out of here. He's too deep. Those snipes are going to punish if you stay too long. Pop, pop, pop. Ravagers and Hydras do get popped. He breaks a few of the lock-ons. A lot of the Ravagers go down. Now, arguably, those Ravagers were chewing up 3 supply for a unit that has very poor stats, and they were not doing very well. A few Banelings in there, and an Overseer gets sniped as well. He needs gas right now. Dark is out of gas mining. He's trying to retake the bottom right. Lurkers are going to jump on top of the siege tank. Does split those up. That tank's going to go down. Does Maru seriously not have scans right now? He's very low on scans. This is what I'm talking about. You got to scan constantly for Lurkers. At this stage of the game, 30 minutes, you should have at least 7 or 8 orbitals, but he stopped doing this. I don't know why Maru stopped doing it. The excuse I've given is he wants to focus more on momentum in his games. He's not doing anything momentum focused in this game. He's turtling. He's playing the classic turtle style. So it's odd that he's gone away from that. It gives Dark a little bit of hope with that mineral bank. But man, he's losing so much territory in the bottom right. Now that the gold base is mining, that hope might be dripping away. He's got to get a big run by Massling Bane with some Hydra Lurker behind it. Those 2 Hellbats are going to cause problems for him. Banelings need to get rid of those. Lings need to get on the tanks, but there's more tanks on the right. Look at those tanks doing very well. That one does die. There's a Lurker on the production. These 3 factories going down would be great for Dark. I'm kind of cheering for Dark a little bit just because I'm like, can he actually beat Maru in late game? But when those ghosts come back is where things get scary. He is catching tanks as they come out. These ghosts, they're going to cloak. There's no Overseer. Get out of there, Dark. Run. Run. Okay, he only loses a few Hydras and a Lurker. The Ling Bane up there is going to take out just a few more units before it goes down. Tank on the high ground does take it. He lost all 3 factories there. He's got 2 more in the main, but they're both on Tech Labs, which means no Hellbat production right now. Or at least very limited. Interesting. Now, the other argument for not building orbitals is that if you build an extra 5 orbitals, each one's 550 minerals. So you guys do the math, it's something like 2,800 minerals. And he says, well, if we're often running out of bank at the end of a TvZ, I would rather play slower, more efficient. And rather than have the extra mining, I am playing for the end game. You're thinking about the mid-end game, where it's mining faster is good. My name's Maru. I'm thinking about the end game when the map's mined out. I want to have those extra 3 minerals in army units, not buildings. Planetary does get taken out on the gold. Dark always finding these little wins, but it always comes at the cost of him losing a base as well. And that knocks Dark's income down to almost nothing. Dark has very little gas mining. He's still got a bit of mineral bank, but he needs to kill this base to knock out most of Maru's mining. If he can't get rid of Maru's mining, then he's basically just lost this game. And the ghosts are here. They push back his Hydras, and that will be that. Dark, unfortunately, did not drone up enough in this game. I said this about 10-15 minutes earlier. With the tactics that he played, I can absolutely see if Dark didn't sit on 55 to 60 drones for 5 minutes while he let Maru gear up for the late game, I actually think Dark should have been able to win that. Unfortunately for him, Maru is still super solid in the late game. Maru, in a half an hour war, takes down Dark. 3-1 advantage. All right, guys. Maru in the top left, 1 game away from sealing the deal, sticking with the tried, tested, and true low ground 2-Rex Reaper by the looks of it. Dark's in the bottom right, and it's Babylon. It's a rough map for Zerg. But if anyone can fight back from behind, I believe in him. I believe in the power of the Dark. Obviously, you know, interesting last game, because definitely Dark took a while to realize where he was in the game, I think, in that mid game. He did so well with those infestors to kind of get back in it, but I think what was most impressive is the fact that I said Maru is going to leave his tanks on the low ground, lose them, and end up in big trouble. He pulled his tanks back to the natural. He survived. He made it so he was unbreakable, and he just kept sneaking those drops across the map. And even though his third was so delayed from mining, he had like 40 workers mining his natural. It didn't matter because he sniped Dark's third multiple times. And Dark basically, you know, it's a struggle for him because you can look at that and be like, well, why didn't Dark just send more roaches home? And it's like, well, if he sends more roaches home, Maru just moves down and takes his third. And the whole massing roach contain isn't really doing its job. That being said, obviously he misjudged because he missed the triple drop move out. Or I think it might have even been 4 medevacs move out the right side of that last map. And that was a big problem. Now, this is not the 2-Rex Reaper. I was going to say, actually, Maru does have a weird variation I've seen him do on Babylon before. Last time I saw him do this, it was a really oddball build order. So he's going to go 2 Marines into Factory with an early command center. Second depot. Oh, interesting. He's going to look for an Overlord snipe, but Dark is actually not scouting the front. Maybe Dark knows that he doesn't like to go 2-Rex Reaper on this map because there's no real ledges to jump up and down, right? And the main base is not the greatest ledge either. Yeah, he's going to go hunting for Overlords. The Urubu there is like, what's up, guys? But there's no Overlord on the pillar. This is very good for Dark so far. Maru's invested a lot in this, and this slows down his add-ons massively. This really costs him. Oh, oddly placed reactor and bunker? Is he actually going to build a bunker in the wall like that? Okay, interesting. Fascinating opening by Maru. Yeah, the last time I saw him do this build, I was like, this is the weirdest build I've seen in a while. And yeah, second barracks now goes down. So it's an odd setup. It's like, he didn't SCV scout. He doesn't have a Reaper. So Maru's so blind and he doesn't know what's happening. And this is not what he wanted. Dark is not going to lose an Overlord. Dark's going to see a delayed factory in the main base. And Dark's just like, cool, I could just drone. Unfortunately for Dark, he did build 6 Zerglings, which of course served no purpose. If those were 3 drones, he'd be miles ahead right now. But as it is, I wouldn't say that's a mistake from Dark. It's just like there was potentially the opportunity if his Overlord was at the front to see, oh, there's no Reapers coming. So losing the Overlord would have sucked, but it would have given him the information to maybe skip the Zerglings. So it's going to be, is this going to be Banshees coming over or the Starport or Barracks? Okay, Barracks is going to build a tech lab for itself. So this is an incredibly passive opening for Maru. So the big problem with this opening is there is nothing that Zerg needs to worry about. That being said, Dark is playing pure Roach. He's skipping Ling Speed. He's just like, nah, screw it. I'm going to play Roaches. I feel like I'm more solid with Roach Ravager than Ling Bane. And I would agree. I do think he's a little bit better at that. I think Ling Bane requires a lot more finesse in the early game in terms of really organized build orders where everything is mapped out. And we saw in like Cistern, it just isn't clean enough of an early game for him. Whereas when he plays Roaches, it feels like Dark's in his element. Very hard to ever kill when he's playing Roach Ravager. Good decisive timing attacks. Just got like a mix of everything. Now Maru's going 3rd Barracks on 2 base. That means he's very much committing to a 2 base attack. He could still squeeze a 3rd command center in the near future. I think last time I saw this build, he got a command center about 5 minutes, maybe 5:30. So it wasn't like an 8-minute 3rd command center. 9 Roaches on the way for Dark. Off 39 workers. He has no idea what he's up against. So he's just building these as safety Roaches because he's like, I honestly have no idea what's going on right now. He doesn't even have any Overlords on the map because he's worried about Marines roaming and hunting for free kills. He's going to send the 9 Roaches across. There's no spores, no lair. Oh, Dark. Oh, Dark. Oh, no. He's going to take big damage to this first Banshee, man. He does see it. Let's see how quick he responds. Oh, not quick at all. Not quick at all. He hasn't even noticed. Oh, no. Dark starts a lair. Where's the Spore Crawler, mate? Where's the Spore Crawler? He's not watching. Finally, Dark realizes this is a disaster. But wait, Cloak got cancelled? Pig's an idiot. Never mind, guys. Maybe Cloak was never even upgrading, and I'm just really dumb. It's only 4 drones. The Banshee does go down. The Roaches are here on the front. Getting the reactor would be nice, but you don't want to throw away too many Roaches for this. We're going to just brush right past me, missing that Cloak wasn't making. I just assumed Cloak was on the way, because it 90% of the time is. 15 Marines are now out with Stim. It's actually not a bad 2-1-1 timing, and he's got a quick 3rd Barracks. And the Banshee keeps you safe against early Roach pressure. Okay, so the idea is the Banshee keeps you safe, potentially gets a little bit of damage. Then you go into just a really clean push, and there we go, 5 minutes 30 on the third command center. So it's still going to be pretty heavily committed on 2-base, but notice how the barracks are not building Marines. He's focusing on SCV production, third command center, depots, upgrades. So Maru is doing the macro follow-up. If he cut SCV production, cuts the third command center for a little bit, builds non-stop Marines, he'll hit a crazy timing. That is not the case. Overlord does go down. Double Evo Chamber. Roach coming up here for Dark. Roaches are the best thing for defending 2-base timings. It would not make a lot of sense for Maru to push right now, because he's not been building Marines for the last minute. So if he tries to like siege up behind these rocks, just pick off some creep, that's fine. But actually committing to a full push would be really stupid. And Maru agrees. Maru is smart. There's a reason this man's won six GSLs up to this point, I believe. He's you know, absolutely crazy in terms of his overall game knowledge. He's going 5 racks behind at third command center. He's going to try to recover his economy, seeing Mass Roach Ravager. He gets a Ravager, which is well worth trading a couple Marines for. Remember, a Ravager costs 100 minerals and 100 gas. What was that? Oh, and he accidentally cancelled his creep tumor. Dark put a creep tumor down, but then he told the queen to inject a hatchery instead. So he's not respreading his creep. And remember, he did not respread creep for a few minutes in that last game either, which really hurt his vision. Maru was so turtle, Dark could have done it. Now Dark's going to shove once again. Don't build depots out there, Maru. This is I've been criticizing Maru for this for 5 years. If you know they're playing Roach Ravager, you know you're going to have to lift that base and leave the tanks here. So build the depots in the main. You don't want to lose 4, 5, 6 depots at that base like you did last game. He does get a snipe on the 4th base, which is really nice. Roach Ravager is here. 1-1 and Roach Speed are very close. This is still a lot of Marines to have on the other side of the map. I think if he wants to move out to the 3rd, he can't have this many Marines on the map. He's got to get home. Yeah, he realizes the threat. He's going to bring everything, try to defend from there. I think that's a good angle. You're technically not covering the top of the mineral line, but you can pull the workers away. So he's going to commit to defending. Wait, he's keeping four medevacs on the other side of the map. Maru's greed knows no bounds. This Roach Ravager attack is going to be so hard to stop. He's basically relying on pulling Dark home. So far, it's working. It's a lot of queens and a spore, though. You can get rid of the queens. It's okay, because then he can make the getaway. He gets 3 queens. Oh, he goes back in, saves most of the Marines. Good hold. Maru, if he can get another couple tanks out and a few more Marines and get everything together on the defense, he can hold this. Dark is all in. All you need to do is survive. Pull the SCVs away and defend your siege tanks at all costs. That's all you need to do here as Maru, but his medevacs are still on the other side of the map. They're getting home, but they're not there just yet. Dark's getting ready to sandwich this. Maru, his tanks are exposed on the low ground. His SCVs try to block on the top, but those 2 tanks instantly get taken out. The Roach Ravager on the bottom spreading biles across the Marines and medevacs. 2 medevacs do go down. There's still 3 tanks alive. A good pullback by Dark. He's got to wait for the bile to be off cooldown, max here, add more roaches. These tanks are still coming to the open for Maru. Maru playing a very risky game. I think he feels he needs that 3rd up and mining. This is a really tough situation. What happens here? Tanks are trying to pull back. Roaches, Ravagers coming on forward on both sides. Maru's only starting +2 armor. He's forgotten about the 2nd engineering bay in the main. He started vehicle weapons, but he did not start +2 attack, and now he's back on 2 base like in the last map. But this time, Dark will have learned his lesson. Dark's going to send a lot more Roach Ravager home to defend the drops. He needs that Roach Ravager up top. The drops are already almost there. Dark, you got to respond quickly. He doesn't see those medevacs. It steers around the creep. Dark, you got to get in the 4th, mate. He sees the 3rd coming down. His whole army's getting lured away. He thinks he's getting dropped in the main. He's going to lose his 4th, I think. Uh-oh. Oh, Dark's trying to scramble over here right now, but he's not there yet. That's going to be a dead 4th base yet again. Maru, the beast of fighting back from behind. Still in a bad spot, though. It's a new 5th base on the way. He shoves a double drop down the south. Those guys are going to focus the hatchery. Ooh, okay. Pretty good snipes. Resets Dark to 3 base. Dark immediately rebuilds 4th, 5th. Hive, Infestation going Pathogen Glands, and Baneling Nest. So he's already thinking about swapping into Ling, Bane, Infesta, maybe Hydras. He's got a 3rd Evo Chamber making melee upgrades. Dark is way more prepared for the long game this time around. You can see he's ready for it. He's like, okay, I know where this game's going. You're going to be really conservative. I'm going to have to just drone up a little bit more as well. Only 71 workers. He could go a little higher, but on such a small map, you are worried about the big follow-up push. Oh, 3rd command center lands. Marines trying to pull back here right now. Maru wanted to be the aggressor in this game with that 3-Rax build, but the Roach Ravager has put him on the defense. Dark just harassing the base with Corrosive Bile, forcing those workers off mining. Viper's coming in. Viper's counter the tanks really, really hard. He's going to have Baneling speed, Ling speed on the way as well. Roaches in the middle do get jumped on by that Stim Bio. It's 1-1 versus 1-1 for now, but it's going to be 2-2 for Terran kicking, Zerg, sorry, kicking in a moment. Terran's +2 attack miles away. Oh, another snipe on the 5th incoming. That's not enough Roaches to defend it. Dark will take out a couple of these Marines, but the Bio is so much more agile, so much faster. They can run in, take a good fight, and pick up at the last second and get out. At least they don't snipe the base, but a very good trade for Maru in terms of losing only a few Marines for a lot of Roaches. More and more tanks building up. He has a second factory is almost finished. 5 barracks pumping Marines, 2 factories pumping tanks. Random Liberators getting mixed in as well. I like that choice. 9 medevacs is probably enough. You can start harassing with Liberators. There's only 2 Queens that shoot up, as well as the Ravagers. Yeah, Dark does not have a lot of anti. I mean, the Vipers can help. They will help a lot. Roaches are still trying to trade out right now. He's trying to replace them with Ling Bane. Dark wants to get over into a Ling Bane army. He doesn't want to get stuck on Roaches as long as he did in that last game. But Maru's got an amazing push set up. Fungal though. Oh, he hides the Infestors. I don't think Maru knows about the Infestors. Remember the surprise Fungal in that last game? Ooh, those Infestors could be big. I don't know if Maru might have barely got a glimpse, but I don't think so. Ling speed kicks in, cancels the 4th command center. Maru's very committed on 3 base. Dark is coming in with mass. No, it would be a bad idea to attack into that choke point. A good choice to pull back. The Ling's getting a few SCVs, a few depots, getting rid of some bio there. 3rd command center needs to lift. Maru! Maru, wake up! Maru lets his 3rd command center die. Big mistake for Maru. And I feel like Maru, he's not building workers. He's only at 57. He was only at 59 before losing those 2 SCVs. Less than 60 workers. He clearly just wants to win with a maxed out army. But Vipers are kind of ruining his day. He's got Vikings as a budget answer to the Vipers. He's going to actually take one out. Banelings roll into a bunch of the Marines. Biles damage the tanks. They pepper them, but they don't actually finish many of them off. Only 2 tanks have died in this entire game. The army's still coming forward. It is a giant all-in from Maru. He wants to kill Dark. Dark has so many tools, though. If he can land a Fungal on the Bio or Blinding Clouds on the tanks, he can swarm this. He's also got Banelings coming in as well, but they get stuck behind the Ravagers a little bit. You got to be careful. Biles trying to go forward. He goes in, he goes out. He doesn't take out much of the artillery. Dark, I think, has to cut off the rally. You can't let Maru just rally all these tanks in. He's going to go and attack through the choke point. Oh, I don't know if this is the right fight for Dark. Big Fungal Bile combo on the medevacs, though. Gets a lot of the medevacs. There's not that much bio left supporting. It might have been a good enough fight for Dark. His 10 Ravagers are still alive. You can't push into Ravager Infestor very quickly, so that's going to slow down the advance. The problem for Dark is these tanks are in range of his ramp. They're in range of his triple Evo chamber. Dark's trying to build more Queens right now. He's going for it again. Does go for another Bile, takes out a siege tank. He's got to keep doing those moves. If you can get a Fungal on the Marines, that will end this push. 1 Fungal to rule them all is what he'd be looking for here. Bile's going to take out yet another tank. He goes for 1 tank. Does he get the second? Yes! 2 tanks. Maru's looking flaccid right now. He can't protect his tanks from those Ravagers because if he goes too far forward, the Infestors will punish him. Dark just threatening the Fungal Bile combos is massive. Biles take out another tank medevac. The Evo chambers are all still up on the right side. Maru's all in, running out of steam. Fungal comes forward. All the Marines get caught. The tanks get blasted. And Dark will not be going down 4-1. He's going to hang on to fight on in this series. Very good Mass Roach Ravager play. And Maru wants to keep the aggression up. He wants to be in the driver's seat like he's been since the start of this series. But the Mass Roach play seems to be stopping him in his tracks. GG. All right, guys. This series has been fantastic. I'm so happy the scoreline's so close. I am cheering for Dark to win this game, but I do feel Maru has been playing a little bit better overall, so I would not be surprised if he takes out Gressvan. He's doing this 2x Reaper build. Back to what's been working for him. And Hatch Gas Pool here for Dark. Now, Dark, once again, is not scouting for the 2x Reaper. He's scouting for proxy barracks. That's interesting. Maru hasn't done a proxy 2-Rax. Maru is famous for his proxy 2-Rax, and he's not really been pulling it out. Now, arguably, he still could have a proxy Rax there, here. There's a few places. You never catch all the spots. But I do wonder if Dark... I mean, he always builds 6-lings anyway, so I think he's pretty well prepared. 6-lings into a fast 3rd base is what he likes to do against this build. It's kind of his standard. I don't think he necessarily needs to know the Reapers are coming ahead of time. Command center should be going down about 210. Oh, it's late. No, it's not. Right on 210. Perfectly played by Maru. He's so consistent with this opening. I think he likes it. It's quite safe having 2-Rex production as well, so you can consistently skip the SCV scout without being worried about like a pull first or anything like that. Zerglings here. Good dance so far by Dark. Got to just buy another 5 seconds for that queen to pop out. He's already got the third base started. Maru was not able to focus on those retreating Zerglings. Now that the queen's out, she will keep it safe. And look at this, the Overlord goes straight in the main. I wouldn't mind him going a little bit deeper. Kitty, deeper. Just to see what's going on. Maru is not going third command center, guys. He's going factory before third command center. So he wants to hit a very fast double drop or a Banshee, one or the other. Basically, he wants to get the quick starport out. He's now building the third command center after the factory. I would guess Banshee. Probably just go for a pair of cloaked Banshees is not a bad way to play. He's damaging the hatchery quite a lot. Now remember, he got a queen kill on altitude, I believe it was. Forcing these queens out here. Lings and queens coming forward. Hatchery takes a fair bit of damage. Now this can actually lead to a snipe later on in the game. Oh, he slips by. Dark's not going to be happy with that. Oh god, his drone's taking damage. He's going to lose at least one. Maru unable to focus the second one down. He could double back for that if he can get around. Oh my god, there's no queen up here as well. Oh, this is good damage. Oh, Maru going deep right now. His Reapers have been so passive all series long. In game 6, he gets 4 drones. And honestly, big mistake for Dark. He saw the hatchery getting so damaged. I think in his mind's eye, he could see Marines stimming this down later. And pulling those Lings down and not blocking there was a bit of a mistake. He could have tanked a bit more damage on that hatchery. Loses 4 drones and mining time. Fantastic start for Maru, who's getting ready for his 2-1-1 drop. Dark did get around the back. He sees a quick third command center. And it is going to be not a 2-1-1 drop. It's going to be those Banshees we talked about earlier. That is a Tech Lab Pig. I've got eyeballs. Oh, I should try to use them sometime, Pig. I agree, Internet. Back on gas. Link speed is, of course, finished here. A couple Overlords building. Dark does hit a supply block on 58. It's not the biggest supply block. Notice he doesn't have much idle lava. If you see a Zerg who's massively supply blocked with like 6 lava sitting there that he can't be spending, it's a big problem. I mean, he did build 5 Overlords at once, so maybe a little bit of overkill, make it up for that. But Dark is kind of the king of getting supply blocked, I would say, out of the top tier players. He's #1 supply block king. Overlord does pull back. Roach Horn's on the way. He's going to play Roaches again. What's interesting is he played Ling Speed first. This is not nearly as efficient a Roach build. The advantage of this is normally you can disguise you're going Roaches. And especially because you've got a reasonably timed lair, you can make an Overseer to defend the Banshee. But wait, it's a Cloakless Banshee. Ooh, look at this, guys. This is like the innovation build on this map. The Cloakless Banshee that Oliveira likes so much. Maru using it as well. I like it. It's a classic innovation strategy, the Cloakless Banshee. He used it in that last game as well, remember. It's a very different opening. This has been a 2-Rex, and he still has a very good Marine count. But now the Medivacs and the tanks are coming in. Double upgrades should be starting up. Maru's a bit shy on his gas, though, so maybe mistiming that a little, as he wanted to go for the 2 Medivacs and the combat shields, but that took away the gas that would have been spent on 1-1 upgrade. So the eBays have been idling for a while in this early game, giving Dark time to catch up on his Evo chambers, which are actually very well timed for a Zerg player. Gets a drone or 2. Does pull back. Looks like 1 drone in the Zergling. Ooh, Ling backstab. I love it. These Lings are so expendable. And just gets in, forces the Marines back momentarily, loses a couple Zerglings, but that's well worth it. Oh, double upgrades still haven't started. He started attack, hasn't started armor yet. Like I said, this is going to give Dark time to catch up. On the other hand, you are spotted coming out with Medivac, so Dark feels like, oh god, I need to build Roaches. He's got Roach Speed, Carapace. He can't afford +1 range, but he's on 6 gases, so he'll be able to in the near future. He's moving out to take a 4th. Banshee does get pushed back on the right. Double drop in the bottom side coming in. 16 Marines, 2 Medivacs, and a nice scan to start creating a bit of an inroad onto the creep. Oh, he's going melee. Dark is not playing Mass Roach this game. Ooh, Dark's playing a clever metagame. Okay, so what Dark's doing, guys, is he's saying, I've punished you with 1-1 Roach timings 2 games in a row and put you in a really bad spot. You now have to play super safe and respect the 1-1 Roach aggression. But this time, I'm not going to commit it. I'm just going to build about 20 Roaches with Roach Speed, and then I'm going to go for Massling, Bane, Hive, Ultras, Infestors, Vipers, whatever other stuff he wants to go to. Now, on the other hand, that works really well if your opponent has respect for a push. Maru is still building a depot wall at his 3rd. The only thing, and he's building a really fast fourth command center. So Maru is basically saying, if you do a 1-1 roach timing, you get a free win. I've told you guys, he's lost so many big tournaments to 1-1 roach attacks. It's been Maru's kryptonite. Rogue has beat him like 20 maps in semifinals and finals of big tournaments doing 1-1 roach attacks. Maru scouts it and disrespects it. This time he has no reason to know that it's not a committed roach ravager timing, and yet he's doing the right play. By being super greedy, he's going to get ahead and just have an amazing late game setup. And Dark will be absolutely disgusted when he watches this replay, because he's like, yeah, surely after 2 games where I mess him up with 1-1 roach, Maru will have respect. But because Dark couldn't close on altitude, Maru's still playing cocky. He's exposing depots on the low ground. He's going 4 command centers. He's sending every single marine across the map to put on pressure, leaving nothing at home except a couple of siege tanks. He's already building sensor towers, 4th command centers, and 75 workers. He's been even or ahead on workers for most of this game. Dark is actually behind in the macro game while playing a very defensive style of Roach Ravager, and that is not what you want. You want to scare the Terran into being safe and careful. He hasn't been able to do it, and now Maru is getting away with the greediest build I've seen in a while against what was meant to be a very scary Zerg. And this is, I don't know what Maru did mentally to make this decision. I don't know how he feels brave enough to do this. I think it's absolutely bananas. But apparently he knows Dark better than I do, and he has some sort of intuition into the fact that Dark isn't going to do the same thing again. And he's absolutely right. The game sense, we call it star sense a lot of the time, which is where you just know what's happening, even without any actual direct information that it's happening. You sense it's happening. There's some sort of pattern recognition going on in your brain with what you know about your opponent and how they play. And look at that, he gets 7 drones. He's denied the hatchery in the bottom. He's keeping Dark pinned on 4 bases. He's already got his 4th lander. This is ridiculous. To be fair, I did point out that Maru loses to roaches a lot because he never respects them. So, yeah. He's getting away with it, man. He's getting away with it. Marine's picking up on both sides. Doing pretty well right now. Dodges the bile on the bottom. Dark, what's he using Hive Tech for, guys? He's making adrenal glands. He hasn't made a Hydroden. He has not made an Ultra Cavern. He has not made pathogen glands or a Spire. So Dark has made a hive just to make adrenal in 3-3. No, he's got 2 Vipers. Never mind. 2 Vipers did just pop. That's very important. Viperling Bane can do a lot in this matchup. The problem is Maru's already double producing siege tanks, and you're not going to have enough blinding clouds for all of them. He's going to have like 14 tanks or something. So if Dark prepares a Broodlord Infestor transition, I think he can take out Maru before he gets into heavy ghost tech. And even a handful of ghosts are not that good versus fungal. But this army right now is really hitting its expiry date. The Roach Ravager, not very good units. And Maru's going to take all the time in the world to macro up. I wonder if he feels confident to do the old school Iron Bank strategy and get 6, 7, 8 orbital commands. Or is he just going to stick on the 3 or 4 or 5 that he's been doing lately? Doing a good job of trading so far. Efficient, but not that much direct damage. Still very small skirmishes so far in terms of what's been going on. Viper's going to throw parasitic bombs. He's going to lose a Viper, though. No, Vipers barely get out of there. He loses the hatchery, though. Maru says if it's a one-way trip, we'll go down fighting. And actually even gets a few Marines out of here. Tries to go for the Creep Tumor Snipe as well. Oh, dirty boy. Dirty, dirty boy. Mass tank spread. Look at this tank spready. He's building an extra orbital, so he's going to go to 4 orbitals for now. I'm going to think about moving forwards. I don't know if you can break this. You don't have any Viper blinding clouds. He's just going to shove. It's a lot of Zerglings. If the Lings spread on these tanks, they could do okay. The Banelings are not going to really find much to connect with. Not enough Lings on the top. Finally, the tanks do go down. Dark, if he can reach a mineral line, would be great. But it looks like his Banelings do get stopped short, as do his Roaches and Ravagers. The units that aren't very useful, the Roaches do all survive. Units Lost tab tells us that was a pretty decent trade for Dark compared to what a lot of ZVT trades are. But then you look at the work account and you realize, well, Dark's down on economy. He can't win with decent trades. He is going Pathogen Glands and Double Spire, so he is thinking about going Broodlords now. But I would have loved if he already had that tech on the way and a bit of a bigger economy. Playing on just 70 drones, super late game, doesn't work. Dark is going to build 7 more workers, and he's going to go Burrow. Okay, he's really preparing for the late game now. Nydus Worm does pop up in the back. Dark doesn't really have the numbers to take advantage of it right now, though. I don't think there's anything inside that Nydus Worm. Yeah. It's the classic empty distraction Nydus, but I think using this while nothing else is happening, all this does is tell him that you've got an Overlord nearby. You don't even have Burrow. I'd be surprised if he gets much damage done here. Let's see what he can find. A Marauder, a few SCVs going down. Maru not evacuating the main base just yet. Hey, that gives some value. Dark tried to burrow those Zerglings. He realized he doesn't have Burrow yet. Maru does scan just in case. Ooh, that single Cloakless Banshee from the early game is actually a savage right now. She has killed 16 units, and she's just surviving and punishing these armies that lack anti-air. I really love that single Banshee. She's doing a good job. Maru's up to how many orbitals, guys? Just 5, and he's making more command centers though, so I think he's going to go heavier on the orbitals since he's beelining towards that late game right now. Snipes there. What I'm really impressed by is we said at the start of the series, Dark can't compete with Maru in endgame, and Maru's embracing that. Maru's saying, you know what, this map is so good for turtling, it's really hard for them to break your central position. That's also my strength in the matchup. Let's use it. And I always admire when a player just plays, what is a style that's not everyone's favorite to watch. There's a lot of Zergs out there vomiting on their kid. Gross, ghosts counter everything. Top tanks, planetaries are BS. That's what you want from your opponents in StarCraft. If you're a pro player and all the fans of your opponents and their races are very upset in the comment section after the game, that tells you you've played very well. Good positioning. The Banshee does finally go down, but these ghosts are threatening. It's not that big an army for Maru. Kind of scary being this far away from his big tank lines. He's still taking decent trades. You can't really jump on top of him. And if you chase into the tank line, that's what the ghosts do very well. Cloaks those ghosts in the bottom. Do you not have a single Overseer? He's got Overlord speed, but no Overseers to deal with the ghosts. It's a big oversight for Dark. Dark's going to have to give this one up, mate. There's no way. Those cloak ghosts are going to go in. They're just going to run in and kill those Vipers if he doesn't watch out. Kills the hatchery. Backs away. Nice move by Maru. Your Parasite's on the way. +1 air weapons. +1 range. Great Aspire is finished. I mean, there's a lot of great tools coming in. Your Parasite's almost done. There's no Infestors on the field. There's a few Spines building. Ooh, Dark's already taking the bottom. Now remember, guys, the strategy is you need to fully saturate these forward bases to mine them out. These bases here, he transfers to the bottom. Oh, no, transfer to the middle. There's no point taking forward bases if you're not going to mine from them. You've got to transfer workers to mine out the forward bases as quickly as possible. I won't bore you with this too much. I know I've talked about it non-stop for the last few years in Turtle late game. I like that Dark's taking the bases, but the minerals are just as important as the gas. You've got to mine everything else out. Ooh. Problem is, he might not even get to hold this position. Yeah, he doesn't have any Infestors out yet to counter these Bio Ghost move forwards. Like, a few Infestors around would be great. Now, notice there's a lot of scans, so it might feel like, well, Infestors aren't going to work because of the scans. Guys, he's only got 5 orbitals, and he's not making more. He's just making mass planetary. Oh, he's going for it! Great engage here for Dark, potentially. The Baneling's going towards the Ghost, but the Ghosts are getting away on the right side. No, great hold for Maru. Fantastic hold. The Parasitic Bombs get defended. The Lingbane Ravager gets cleaned up. All the Ghosts survive. And now it is at a 5,000 resource lost deficit for Dark. That was it. And he holds the position, which means he's still threatening this base. In this scenario, Dark wouldn't have got that much mining out of this if he transferred workers here. So you can argue it wasn't that necessary, especially now with it getting nuked. Where can you hit as Dark, though? I think he's got to send like 60 Zerglings up here. This area dies to 60 Zerglings. He can at least clear all the tanks out. He's got to shove that side of the map. Get rid of these sensor towers, because right now there's too much vision for Maru. Maru nukes the base, gets a few drones. He'll take it out with a few Marauders. Here we go. Massling Bane in the top. But you got to remember, the Ghosts are going to be here soon. He's only got so much time to get work done before the Ghosts and the Bios scramble up from the south. He's going to deny the Planetary in the north with the Zerglings. Baneling's going after this mineral line. Woo! Gets a bunch of SCVs. I don't know if he'll be able to kill the base, though, because building armor is... Actually, building armor's not done. These are 3 armor planetaries, not 5 armor. Nonetheless, Maru defends. He loses 15 workers, but he's still got 65. Can replace those workers, and he does immediately start doing so. Does lose 1 command center in the top, though, which is nice. Overseers right there. Oh, no! Oh, luckily Maru doesn't snipe those. If he'd sniped those, that would have been very nice pickoffs. Gets 2 of the Overseers, which is still some value. Broodlords are morphing right now. There's also 4 Infestors out. Broodlords can break the tank line. There's a lot of Ghosts, though, so he needs a lot of Overseers. Dark has still not made many Overseers. He's got 3 in this game. I don't know where those Broodlords are morphing. He's trying to threaten the bottom with a lot of mobile units. Oh, that tank. Killer positioning. This is his base in the top. Dark's lost a lot of his mining. He's only mining 3,000 minerals a minute. That's dropping as his mineral patches run out. He does flank in, gets rid of that siege tank. Sensor tower, kill the sensor tower, get out. He's got to kill that sensor tower, get out. He does not take out the sensor tower, unfortunately, which means there's so much vision still there for Maru. Much better creep spread this time, though, for Dark. Oh, almost loses an infested, does keep it alive. The drop does have to pick up, though, and this is a huge mistake. Having to show the Broodlords defensively is really bad. When you make Broodlords, you want to immediately hit. Notice how Thor's queued up. You need to be fighting before the Thors are out. Versus Ghosts, you can counter them with Fungal. 4 Infestors is not a lot to counter them with Fungal, but you do not want to be playing late game stuck on Mass Broodlord versus Maru. Maru, I'm pretty sure, will win that fight. Thors beat Broodlords. Broodlords are not a unit you mass. They're a unit you surprise them. 1 round of Broodlords, you kill a base or 2, you break a few tank lines, and then you swap back into the Ling Hydra Baneling army, plus Vipers that deals with Thors and everything else quite well. A few Infestors spread around for ambushes with Burrow Fungal would do well, but Dark still has a little bit of a window before those Thors are on the front line, but he's not getting anything done. He needs to push into Maru and start to punish him. Right now, Maru's first Thors are entering the field. He's only on 3 factories. The first 2 Thors coming down. They have +3 vehicle weapons, +1 plating. Their upgrades are pretty good. Broodlords can at least deny that base. Okay, that's a little bit of damage. Top side, very exposed. Dark can keep getting Zergling run-bys up there. He'll keep Maru on his side of the map for now. Scan goes down there. Dark throws up a forward Nydus Worm. Here we go. Lingbane Ravage, that's what we were talking about. Spreading Lings forward to get these SCVs, this infrastructure. Maru leaving himself hanging out a little bit. Remember, Maru does not have mass orbital, so he cannot recover by just dropping a base and dropping unlimited mules, having unlimited scans. He's got 6 orbitals, so it's 1 more than in the altitude game. It's a bit closer to the Iron Bank. I always say you need 7 orbitals for it to be the proper Iron Bank. 6 is not bad, but in the past, Maru would go for like 9 or 10. And it's such an interesting change in his style. He's making 2 more orbitals now, so he's going to it, but he's going to it very late. Deep on creep, Maru. Maru's going to shove with this army? The Broodlords. He scans the Broodlords. He sees they're out of position. He feels like he can jump forward. Oh, the Infestor goes down, getting shot down before it could land a Fungal. Tanks and EMPs, keeping those Infestors back for now. I like this push from Maru, but he's got to be careful to not get caught here. He shoves the bottom at the same time. The Broodlords are there to defend, but I think the hatchery will get sniped. Oh, Neural on the Thor. That's going to kill some of these units. Ghosts come forward, though. Most of the Infestor energy's gone. A Broodlord, I think a Ravager, sorry, got popped. Those Infestors whiff. Almost all the Fungals are gone. You got to be careful. EMP's landing. Maru's out, microing him. He sniped the hatchery in the bottom. Yes, the Marauders died, but the Ghosts are ruining him. The micro battle is not good for Dark because he doesn't have Overseers. He only had the Spore Crawler, so he couldn't even see where the Ghosts were. He's now lost all of his Infestor energy. He cannot compete with this army. And that is why you want to be the one dictating where the fights happen with Broodlords. You want to be the one pushing in, having a big spread of Infestors because they're not a good mobile, defensive, responsive unit. And that was such a good trade. I was like, who shoves on creep like this? But he scanned. He saw the Broodlords were down here. And he knew that Dark would have to fight with only part of his army at a time. Great plays by Maru. He's up 8,000 resources in the units lost. He's got a fresh base getting secured in the top. He does spend a lot of money on orbitals behind it this time, guys. He's up to so many. 8 orbitals now. The Iron Bank is complete, which means unlimited scans and mules. This base has still got some minerals. That base has got minerals. Minerals there, minerals there. He's got plenty of mining. He's got to be out mining Dark at this point. And indeed he is. Dark only has that base and then this base trying to come up. The other bases have scraps. So 1 full base and a little bit of scraps is all Dark's got mining right now. This army needs to do the magic. He's got 5 Infestors and they don't have a lot of magic juice saved up right now. Their magic juice is running low. A few Fungals available versus an army of Ghosts with mass EMP snipe. 5 Thors, all of them with their big high impact payload guns out. That's right, guys. They've pulled out Thor's hammer onto their shoulders. That's literally what it's called. Thor's hammer. It outranges the Broodlord and it is absolutely massive. They got the 250mm Punisher cannons. Oh, Baling's coming in. Infestor's going to look for the Neurals, but he doesn't have the Neural energy. EMP's landing all over him. He tries to Fungal the Ghost. I think Neural would have been amazing in that fight, but there might be enough Lingbane to roll over anyway. Those Ghosts need to get out of there. If there was 1 or 2 Fungals or a flanking Infestor catching that, that would have been lights out for Maru's army, and he wouldn't have been able to defend this base in the top. But coming in from one direction is not good enough. Dark needs to split these Infestors up, burrow them around the map, and start getting sneaky again. He keeps getting pushed into these defensive front-on fights where he loses a base and the fight's at best even, but usually it is at a deficit. He's got to find the catch. The Fungal or the Neural ambush is what's going to get him back in this game. He's got to dig deep and find it, but Maru is not giving him any time to get his footing straight, any time to dig in his heels. Dark's just trying to scramble back to an economy. And Maru's not giving him that time. Now you can see Dark's kind of gone back to Hydra Ling Bane, which can work very well with good spellcasting abilities. Maru's actually throwing away 3 medevacs. That's interesting. Because 5 medevacs is enough for 18 ghosts. He wants more actual fighting units in the combat. Ghosts don't stim, remember, guys. So you don't need as many medevacs for them. There's no regular bio. It's just 4 libs, which do have range, and 1-2 upgrades. Actually, they don't have range yet. It's almost finished. Snipes on the Broodlords. Uh-oh. Okay, good fungal there. He's got to cancel the hatchery and pull back. Got to get his forces together. Does Dark. He's got a lot of infestors. Lingbane Hydra's going to counterattack the top while the Broodlord Infestor tries to defend the bottom. He's outnumbered here. Dark is savagely outnumbered. He's trying to do a fighting retreat to buy time. Lingbane Hydra is going to just destroy that base. He's using infestors to try to buy time, but he's copping a few liberator shots. And look at these sneaky ghosts coming in. He's only got like 1 overseer here. Dark, once again, is caught very low on overseers. He loses his only overseer, which means Cloak is a problem. Lingbane Hydra, though, is clearing the bases up the top. 24 SCVs going down, as well as a few of these factories will be falling. Dark's going to shove in and take out some more of the very important mining bases of Maru. Both players have a bit of bank left, but not that much, and they are losing almost all of their mining. Baneling's making it home to try and roll into the ghosts. The Lingbane Hydra army is exhausted. The planetaries have been chewing up a lot of the Lingbane, which means it's just Hydras. He gets a few orbitals. Maru smartly saves a few of these command centers, and he will get those back to re-land later on. If he lost all those command centers, that would have been a bigger cost. As it is, I think it's well worth it. He even nukes the hatchery on the way out, kills 7 drones, and Dark, he's got a new hatchery in the top, a few scrappy minerals there. He's going to try to retake that. He will have a full base here. So he's going to have 2 full bases, this one and the top one. Look at that. What's he got for anti-air? A couple queens is all. Dark here, going to lose a few of these queens if he's not transfusing, and he's not. He's busy. He's looking elsewhere on the map. Does start transfusing to save the second one. Okie dokie. Looks like the Liberator push hits the top. Dark on 2 mining bases. Maru says that is unacceptable. This is a very hard army to deal with. Usually the answer to this army is Neuroparasite. There's no tanks. There's not a lot of libs. If he can flank with infestors and either fungal the ghosts or neural all the Thors, like if you steal 3 or 4 Thors, you can absolutely destroy this army. He's got 1 infestor right underneath, but get scanned. Problem is, Maru has the Iron Bank. He's got 9 orbitals. He's got endless scans, and now he knows you're going to try and ambush him. It's too late in the game now. That play's not going to work anymore because Maru is on high alert. He knows that's the one thing that could get Dark back in this game. Dark still needs to look for maybe just an unburrowed flank, bring 3-4 infestors in, steal the Thors, and then use them against him. Oh, the Ling run by gets big damage. Maru with his pants down, caught around his ankles. And, you know, oh, no, where's the Overseers? Where are the Overseers right now? He doesn't have any Overseers. Dark has been playing so light on Overseers. He has to engage with the Banelings to save the Broodlords. The Banelings wreck the Hellbats. But Neuroparasite all on the Thors. The Hydras have already disappeared, though. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Maru's firepower is too great, even with half of his guys getting stolen. The Ghosts and Thors that were remaining were gunning down the Neuroparasite infestors, breaking the Neural as it went. And, oh, Dark's chance for the Neural comeback was not good enough. GG, well played. Maru playing some excellent late games. And as we predicted at the start of the series, it was going to be hard for Dark to take it there. But let's just admire the fact that Maru played a greedy, fast 4th command center versus what looked like yet another mass roach timing. I don't know what it was that ticked Maru off. This man is the master of tells. He read that play perfectly. Or he just felt like being super greedy. Who knows? Either way, a very impressive victory from Maru. He gets his 7th GSL championship, which is so far beyond anybody else. It is absolutely insane. GG, well played. The greatest GSL player of all time. Maru takes yet another trophy home.